Welcome back to the Bourbon and BS podcast, everyone. This is episode 339, and it is the middle of July. Sean Wilkinson back with us with a new hat. That's
Hello.
Nice. Cool.
Oh,
nice.
Steve.
Nice.
Rookie mistake.
Everyone calm down. All right. Nate Hale brought something special tonight.
No cork pop whatsoever.
I think the bottle will be better than the cork pop. We got some special stuff tonight for you. Nate is pouring something special he brought with him, and then we also have a very limited edition cigar that I'm excited to try here. And we're fortunate. Thank you to General Cigars and STG for sending that to the podcast. I want to thank you guys. Can you stop coughing?
Yes, sorry.
Cool. That'd be great.
I'll just mute his mic.
Yeah, just joking. Tinderbox at Easton, Columbus, Ohio. They do not carry the featured cigar tonight. However, the second cigar from Altadis USA, which is also a sponsor of ours, the Monte Cristo Espada Oscuro, is available there. We also have, I've got a Crown Heads t-shirt on tonight. Jake Sanders, who was on the last episode, he brought some Mil Diaz Maduro for us as well, which is also available at Tinderbox at Easton. Right now, it's actually on special, so check that out. Tinderbox at Easton, Columbus, Ohio. Altadis USA, like I said, Monte Cristo Espada Oscuro is the second cigar of the night after our featured cigar, which we'll get into as well here soon. And we also want to thank BS Cigar Company for the gold and silver. Gold is made by Plasencia, and the silver is made by Espinosa Cigars. And Nate and Sean have the podcast shirts.
Oh, I've got the OG one.
The OG, and you got the St. Patty's. Buyjack.com/bourbon and BS for any of the shirts for the podcast, as well as BS Cigar Company. You can find those on there as well. Really easy. Order your size, the color you want, and buyjack.com will send them to you. So appreciate you guys rocking those shirts and all the swag. And I'm wearing the Crown Heads thanks to Jake giving me that nice, great gear you guys have too, which you can find on CrownHeadsCigars.com, Crownheads Cigars, something like that. CrownHeads.com. You can check out their apparel that's available as well. I also want to thank everyone out there for the Patreon contributions, patreon.com/Bourbon and BS podcast, or the one-time contributions at Venmo at Bourbon and BS. If you guys want to buy us a bottle or throw some money towards the podcast, we appreciate that. Helps us keep it going. Pays the internet, pays the streaming, and also the audio posts as well. So appreciate that very, very much. And as always, if you guys are listening on Facebook, we might try to push this over to YouTube a bit more since Facebook's starting to delete the videos after a certain amount of time. But you can check out the old videos at YouTube for Bourbon and BS podcast, or you guys can listen to on all your streaming apps as well. But ask any questions on the comment feed. Tonight, we're going to be focusing on the Facebook live feed. So definitely chime in there if you want to talk to us or have any comments or questions for us. What are we drinking tonight, Nate?
This is Blanton's Gold.
Blanton's Gold. I need to.
So, yeah, you need to finish your pregame. So, yeah, this is obviously for those in the know. This is a Buffalo Trace product. This is using their number 2 high rye mash bill.
You got the horse?
Yep.
Said something there.
Even the horse is gold.
Real gold?
No. I have no idea.
I guess
I know
yeah,
there's
but
two
I guess
ends,
it
but
depends on what position the horse is
yes.
My eyes aren't good enough for that. I don't think it does.
I don't think it does.
Okay. Blanton Gold, everyone.
I'm not one of those people that goes around trying to collect all the toppers. I don't give a shit. But yeah, so this is coming out of Buffalo Trace, the number 2 high rye mash bill, which they don't disclose their mash bills, but it's like a 12, somewhere around 12% rye. So all the Blantons are this, the Ancient Age products, the Elmer T. Lee, the Hancock Reserve, all this same mash bill. The difference between this and regular is the regular Blanton's comes in at 93 proof and the gold comes in at 103.
You say that again. Sean was whispering in my ear, making a joke.
Sorry.
Careless whisper?
It was definitely careless.
So regular Blanton's and they're all single barrels. Regular Blanton's comes in at 93 proof. This one, the gold edition, comes in at 103.
Interesting.
And then Yeah, and they all So this kind of black velvet bag with Blantons on it and drawstrings. The one I got also comes in a box.
Huh. Do they normally not? They just
So sometimes when we get a case of stuff like this, it'll be 50-50. We'll have 3 bottles in a box, 3 bottles not in a box. Or as I call them, 3 dressed, 3 naked.
Nice.
Cool.
Is with this being, I don't know if Nate, if you know this or not, but I don't know, it's printed on there, so probably not. I was going to ask, with it being the original or whatever they call it, the single barrel.
Yeah.
They do proof it exactly to the 103.
Yes. So every
102,
Blanton's product
103.
except for straight from the barrel is cut.
Okay.
So
it's identical proof wise.
yes. So even though it's single barrel, every single bottle of regular Blanton's will be 93. Every Blanton Gold will be 103.
Okay.
It's only the straight from the barrels that you get the variation.
Got it. Have you taken a sip of this yet, John?
I have not.
Have you ever had this? I don't think I've
I
had
don't
this
think I've-
Blanton's.
I don't think I have either.
Which it's interesting to me, and we don't have to spend a ton of time on this, but like Blanton's at the beginning of the quote bourbon boom of the recent years,
Yeah.
that was like the one.
Yep.
That was the one to get. That was the one that everyone's like, oh, when I started drinking, bourbon, like before everyone else did, I could get Blanton's all the time, blah, 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 all the Buffalo Trace products. And it was one of those things that it quickly became the Blanton sucks. Blanton's okay. Whatever. Like the people could care less about it. Yet you couldn't find it because it became currency in the bourbon market. And it was such an interesting phenomenon to me that like a lot of Buffalo Trace, Weller's actually, I feel like people respect more than Blanton's. Like Blanton's is almost frowned upon in a lot of bourbon like enthusiast groups anymore.
Is it because they're butthurt because they can't get it?
I don't think so.
No.
Go ahead, Nate.
So,
what do you think?
So regular Blanton, so at MSRP, the regular Blanton's is more expensive than every Weller except for the Millennium.
Right.
The green, the red, the blue, which is the full proof, the black, which is the 12-year, the orange, which is the single barrel, and then the white, which is the CYPB. Every single one of those is under $70 MSRP. Whereas regular Blanton's, I mean, shoot, when you and Jake started the podcast, I think Blanton's was $55.
Correct. Yeah.
Wow.
Now in the state of Ohio, it's $80. It's an $80 bottle, but if you go to other states, I mean, the secondary market on it is anywhere from like $180 to $250.
Yeah.
And that's for the regular Blanton's. That's not this.
Yeah. And this is a smaller allotment than regular Blanton's.
Yes, there's a lot fewer of the golds produced. They are still individually numbered, the barrels at least. So this is barrel 998, getting close to 1,000.
Almost there. You almost made it.
But this was actually bottled 2 years ago. I was able to get it. I think back then it was 125 in Ohio, and now it's 145 in Ohio. But secondary on it is $400.
Wow.
So
Well, somebody's still buying it.
yeah. Well, I
People
mean,
are still buying it. Yeah, absolutely.
in the state of Ohio, this is typically when they do a lottery. So this is a lottery bottle, or if they do like one of those special releases. The state of Ohio earlier this month did 3 events with Buffalo Trace, and Blanton's Gold was one of the lottery bottles that people had a chance to be able to buy. So if you got your ticket drawn, you had a chance to possibly buy that and some other bottles as well coming out of Buffalo Trace.
How often do you get this for allocated, like every week?
This never comes out. This is only a lottery in the state of Ohio.
Okay.
Regular Blanton's, I mean, it depends on the stores. Some stores do more wholesale business, so they may get more of them, of the regular. When we get Blanton's at our store maybe once a month, and usually it's just a 6-pack.
Wow.
So,
and they probably go immediately.
oh, there's more people in line than bottles.
Wow.
I mean, but yeah, to Steve's point though, like if we had Blanton's and Eagle Rare available the same day, Eagle Rare will sell out before Blanton's does.
That wasn't always the case.
It was not always the case.
Why do you think that's changed?
Eagle Rares over the last 5 years, Eagle Rare has stayed I think 5 years ago it was $40. Now it's 42.
Yeah.
But Blanton's has gone up even more.
Mm.
Secondary on Eagle Rares, $80 to $100.
Yeah.
So double what you're paying for it.
Wow.
Whereas Blanton's, you're getting more of that. But I think
But you said Eagle Rare sells quicker.
it does. I think
Okay.
I think there's a lot of people that like the flavor profile of Eagle Rare more than Blanton's. It's a different mash bill. It's
Okay.
the number one mash bill, so a little bit less rye than this one. It's got a 10-year age statement on it, so it's actually older. And then I think it's actually higher proof. I forget the proof.
Eagle?
Yeah. Is that 100 proof, Jake?
No.
Or is it 90?
90? I was thinking 90.
Buffalo Trace is 90. 95. Okay. Greg asked a question. What's driving the price increases? Nate, you want to field that?
So the price increase is based on the distributor. So the distributor is buying it from the distillery, and the distillery could be charging the distributor more money in Ohio than what they're charging in other states, just because Ohio can sometimes be difficult to work with, being a control state. But whatever it is, the distributor's buying it from Buffalo Trace and then selling it to Ohio Liquor. So they are the ones that are they are selling it to OHLQ for whatever they want to charge. And then OHLQ just puts in, whatever their margin is, which for the state of Ohio, the percentage markup is the exact same across the board on every single product. They don't sit there and go, well, this is a more popular product, let's put more margin on this. It's the exact same markup on every single product.
For Ohio.
So even though Ohio does set the price is more influenced by the distributor than it is the state.
And outside of Ohio, outside of the MSRP is obviously the secondary market. So, this is a product that in the States, depending on the state, as we've talked about on the podcast before, but if you go to say just surrounding here, down in Kentucky itself is not a controlled state. So therefore you will find
they can charge whatever they want.
And that is usually driven, well, hand in hand, it's driving each other, the secondary and obviously the unregulated pricing of it. But to Ray's question, I mean, just like anything else, as far as the manufacturer's prices, there's a lot of factors that we won't even know.
Oh, yeah.
I would venture to guess that you will see some more price increases. We don't need to go down the road, but I mean, I know that over in Europe there was a tariff that went in that's affecting the bourbon whiskey American market, and then there's also a lot of the expansions. So I mean, there were a lot of expansions in the spirit world, especially in the bourbon world, over the last several years, along with the spike in the bourbon, right? Especially right here in the United States not because of COVID, it wasn't caused by a novel virus, but it was something that, with the lifestyle changes of a lot of people, there was a huge spike in the industry. Then there was billion-dollar expansions at some of these places, including Buffalo Trace. We'll see how it goes. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't just have that saved in their bank to be like, all right, now I'm going to spend this $1 billion+ on it. They're like, all right, we are leveraging what we have and what we expect based on the sales.
And they just got flooded.
Well,
there was also that.
My hope is because of that expansion, my hope is that in the next 5 to 10 years, when some of that product finally starts coming to maturation, this stuff is going to be more readily available. And that's what's going to kind of
shit. Damn it.
There's a B. That's what's going to
now there's Bland's gold on the table.
That's what's going to stabilize prices or make certain items.
Fucking B made me spill my plan. Sorry.
Or some of the stuff's going to be more readily available. That's my hope. Because I think if this stuff is more readily available, that would be the biggest thing you could do to hurt the secondary and the bottle flippers. Is if it's stuff you can go out and get, you don't have to wait in line 5 hours on a Saturday. It's
yeah. And there's also, and again, we talk about this all night. I mean, there is the hand in hand on this, where if there isn't a secondary market, are you selling as many bottles? Does it slow down the actual purchasing of these products? You're not going to it will be more along the lines of, you'll see Buffalo Trace with this one. You'll see a Weller Special Reserve. You've already seen a lot of it, but you'll see it more on the shelf. Like you see, Woodford Reserve. You see, Elijah Craig. I mean, like a lot of these, like not basic, but you know what I mean? Like you'll see them when you want to go in for a bottle of Irish. If you want to get a bottle of Jack Daniels or Jameson or something like that, it's going to be on the shelf.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the hope there, is that it's going to be available. But I also think a lot of the expansion will be aiming towards either new products or some of their core products. Like Fireball's still very, very popular. You know what I mean? Like that's there are other products that they can use these expansions. Everyone thinks that they're going to be, they're just going to have more warehousing space to sit stuff forever. And it's like, well, that's part of it, but not everything.
I had a question too, or just maybe more of a thought is, you would think with Eagle Rare being in higher demand, they could just run the price up like they did with Blanton's. I don't understand why they're keeping that at such a I think
for their portfolio, like Blanton's is still the big one. Like that's the luxury item that they're trying to, because Blanton's has always been more expensive than Buffalo Trace or Eagle Rare, or any of those. So
you could bump it up $20 and still make a killing.
Yeah, but then you're starting to get that too close where it's, it's like, do I really want to spend the extra money? I mean, going from Eagle Rare at half the price, you're sitting there like, I'll spend half the money and get 2 bottles instead. But you're almost eating into your own market if you raise the price on the better sellings. I mean, if you want to go by cases, Buffalo Trace sells more than Blanton's. I mean, I sold 20 cases of Buffalo Trace in less than 2 days.
Wow.
I mean, people were buying it by the case.
I saw it on the shelf in Kroger and Gahanna the other day.
Yeah, I bought 2 bottles at Kroger the other day just to have. And, I like sipping on Buffalo Trace. It's like actually one of my favorites. It's daily sippers type.
Yep.
If you can get it.
I got I don't know if it's a handle, but it's a bigger bottle of the Buffalo Trace you normally get. And Eagle Rare is down in Newport, Kentucky last year, and both of them were $100. I was just like, you know what? I'll take it. It was a great deal. And,
Well, what do you guys think of this one while we're doing it? And I'll punish myself for trying to kill that bee and spilling part of my glass on the table. So I'll wait for your second pour. I know. All right. I'm not happy about it.
Don't drop an ash on it.
What?
This might go up in flames.
No, it's somewhat flame retardant, I think.
You would think.
Yeah, but you added alcohol to it.
Yeah. It's evaporating as we speak. But what do we think? Let's
go ahead, Sean.
Blanton's Gold.
Well, if you go back in the video and watch my reaction, after I took a sip and let it sit there and you kind of just take it all in. I was like, whoa, so good. I mean, I enjoy it. I really love it. I just love smooth bourbon, like just very, just from the start to finish. It's got so much flavor, and there's not the Kentucky hug. If there is, it's very tiny, but it kind of reminds me of E.H. Taylor a little bit with the whole like smoothness, where it's like, oh my God, this could get me in trouble. Like if I could drink this like a lot and not, very easily. So I've never had the Gold, and I'm very impressed with it.
A little spice to it. I can't tell if that's the cigar or if I'm,
No, that's the mash bill.
Yeah.
Because like I said, they can
the mash bill? Do we have the stats on it? You said it's the second mash bill.
So Buffalo Trace has 2 bourbon. Well, they have 2 rye mash bills for their bourbons. They have the low rye and then the high rye. They don't disclose the exact percentage of the mash bills. It's believed that mash bill number 2, which is this, is somewhere around that 12 to 15% rye content.
Okay.
Whereas the number 1 mash bill, which is your Buffalo Trace and Eagle Rares, those are coming in at around 10% rye.
Okay. Yeah, I get a little bit of spice. I want to say it's almost like that eucalyptus, like a little bit of that. You obviously don't.
No, I mean, I'm usually with
judgmental.
Yeah, usually with you guys, you get these bottles and you're like, holy shit, felt that going down. And
no,
it's only 103.
It's more up here,
Not here so much, but like right here.
Ship shape.
I love
Yep.
the nose on it.
Yeah.
Like the nose has I think a lot of butterscotch.
Yeah.
And fruit.
Yes.
Like there's some fruit on the nose too.
Mm-hmm. I noticed the butterscotch when I sip it and just hold it in my mouth, like just let it sit there for a little bit. You start getting more. You really start picking up more flavors the more it sits there. But I mean, if there is spice, I don't know.
Not getting it.
So
I'm not. It's just really smooth.
So like after you swallow, like kind of let that air come up and into your mouth, and that's where that kind of minty eucalyptus that Steve's getting kind of hit. Like there's no hug or anything. It's just all in the back of the palate when that air comes back up.
Yeah, I'm getting like kind of top back.
Yeah,
top back of my mouth there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You have to breathe.
Oh shit!
I've been holding my breath the whole time. Here.
Okay, yeah, now I get it.
You gotta do both. You gotta do both now. Come on. Now.
Really inhale.
Yeah. Then you hold for 10.
Yeah.
I will say I also love the Blanton's bottle. I think it's very classic.
Yep.
I got into like more the bourbon world thanks to Jake mainly originally. And at that time, now we're going back, 8 years ago, probably, which I would say at that time, for the majority of the people getting into bourbon, they weren't the bourbon hunters. They weren't the nerds. You know what I mean? It was, I remember I was at a bourbon meetup with some friends. Jake was there. And I think I may have told this a long time ago on the show, but it was like Blanton's, it was old news to this group. Like I brought a E.H. Taylor
small batch,
single barrel,
oh,
right? And it was all like these barrel picks on a share table, and yeah, I ended up just bringing them back. I was just like, I'm not leaving them. Like obviously, I mean, because it was a friend of ours. He's been on the show, Bob Breyer. It was his warehouse that we were at, right? That was the one. Yeah, you're thinking of. And so I brought him. I'm like, dude, this for me. It was like the single barrel, and the straight. Where yeah, and like everyone was just like didn't even bat an eye because it was all these like half or less of these like barrel picks or store picks or whatever it was. I mean, it was just all that stuff, and everyone was just beyond it already. And so like there I was. I appreciated that, but at the same time, at that point. Like I look at Blanton's and I was just like, this is just like such an iconic thing.
Mm-hmm.
I could care less about the horses and stuff. I thought that was cute. And, again, most of those guys in that room that, they're still really into bourbon. I bet you, like even Matt Stiles, who's a friend of the show. And that's where I bet you he's got one of those wood staves with the horses on it. And Jake does. But I mean, like that was the thing that I think as you're getting into the journey there is that this was like a big game to, people seek it out. People were buying just the corks on like eBay or from people they weren't even buying. They just wanted that decoration.
I've seen people come in and ask like, "Oh, what letter is that?" No, I already got that.
Yeah. They're still buying the bottle.
Jesus.
Yeah,
But,
they buy it. They buy it so that way they can trade for someone else.
So I mean, I don't know if you can credit Buffalo Trace, the company, for just brilliant marketing on this, or if they intended it to be as much of a craze as it was / is. But I do think that letters aside, genius that they did it. That's like McDonald's Monopoly. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You get all of them, but you can't get that last one.
Yeah. Park Place.
Park Place. Like, no one gets that.
Yeah.
That's all I need. I just need
one
to get 20 more chicken nuggets. You know what I mean? Like, I got this. Like, give me all your nuggets.
I heard someone explain it that Buffalo Trace is a marketing company that sells whiskey.
I mean,
if this product was in any regular looking bottle at $145, this would probably sit on the shelves.
Yes, until somebody tried it. I mean, that's the thing is that's any of this stuff, right? I mean,
there's $25, $30 bottles out there right now. I think like Four Roses, Elijah Craig, like Elijah Craig Rye is one of my favorite too, and it's and you got, what is it, Michter's, or there's one Old Forester that you get that's like
Old Forester 100.
Yeah, the handle. You get a handle of it.
JTS
when I go down to Kentucky, the very old Barton.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, which is made by the same company.
So I want to give, like that at least nod to the marketing behind this. This bottle is extremely attractive. It's very unique. It's very it kind of looks like a old Wild West, like medicinal bottle. You know what I mean? That the doctor
Apothecary
brings in.
bottle.
Yeah, apothecary bottle. So it's very classic, very unique. You don't see it. I don't know if they have a patent on it in the spirit world or not, but it doesn't get much more iconic, I think, than this bottle shape and design with the horse on top.
I mean, everyone recognizes it. You can spot it from a mile away.
Yeah, what the John Wick had. Remember, like that John Wick? You're like, oh my god, he's got Blanton's, the green one.
Yeah,
because he's in Japan or wherever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was like,
well, he's in New York, but they had the Japanese.
Okay, that's
one.
what it was.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead, Sean.
No, I was just going to say when I was coming back from Dominican, I stopped to torture myself. I stopped at a duty free in Miami, knowing I could never get anything in there.
The wrong way.
Yeah, I just went through Charlotte and didn't have shit, but I saw the Blanton's bottles and like I was like, oh my god, it was like one of those like I caught it and I'm like, oh my god, it's like it's a very like reactive because again it's you never see it.
Not anymore.
And there's one, I think it's called like Sexton or there's a bourbon that looks like the
Blanton. It's an Irish whiskey.
Yeah, and you walk by, I'm like, oh, bastards tricked me again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so that's what I was getting to. Steve brought up the marketing, the bottle shape and the horse. So yeah, they have this horse on top. I get people that come in specifically going, do you have, it's usually wives or girlfriends that are being sent there against their will. But they're like, do you have that bourbon with the horse on top? Nope.
Again.
But they use it for this. And then they have it on, they have the horse on the Rock Hill Farms. They have the caribou on the Caribou Crossing.
Yeah, but this is the one.
This is the one everyone hunts for. Yeah.
But if you're not privy to it, you may get confused with it.
You could just say, yeah, we have this Caribou Crossing. Selling that.
Yeah, you could.
We never had that in either.
All right, whatever. Sean Anderson did bring up one just for the bourbon people out there. If you like regular blends, just go out and buy a bottle of John Bowman's single barrel.
He's not far. He's not wrong.
Which you can't find everywhere around here either.
No, the single barrel is harder to
You're
get.
seeing Bowman Brothers,
but regular Bowman Brothers small batch, that's a
very
great.
good.
When I get people that are looking for alternatives to Buffalo Trace, Bowman Brothers, the small batch is one of those that I recommend to them.
Yeah.
Now, Sean lives down in Tennessee.
He does. He does. Yes.
I can, maybe you guys know, but I can ask him. He can tell me. But
that's an open state.
Is it easier to get that kind of stuff down there?
So,
because he's like, just go.
So it's not regulated in Tennessee. So, liquor agencies down there, I mean, they either work through a distributor or directly through the distillery on the ability to be able to get things, and then they can sell them for whatever they want. As far as availability, some of those stores might not get that much of it just because the state of Tennessee isn't in the top 10 in bourbon sales in the U.S.
Okay. Yeah.
Ohio, I've told it before, Ohio's number 4.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And the 3 ahead of us are California's number 1. They have e-commerce and you can buy online. They ship out of state.
Oh, wow.
2 is Texas. And both those states have massive populations.
Sure.
Texas.
3 is Florida, which again, higher population. But then think about how much whiskey all those cruise liners go through every week.
Oh, yeah.
And then they come back every week and have to restock. And then
those old people.
Yeah, and then you have Disney down there as well. Like,
yep. So all the dads are losing their.
And then you have Ohio.
Yeah, I'm spending tens of thousands of dollars.
And then you have Ohio at number 4. Yeah. Doesn't have e-commerce. Doesn't ship out of state. Can't even, for most places, you can't even ship into Ohio. We don't have the populations of those states. We don't have the industry driving it. We just have people buying it.
So do a lot of people from other.
Not saying much for Ohio, really. There.
I mean, I'm sure with like the secondary market, people that can get the stuff easily can just make a living off of just selling it to people from Ohio.
Well, you got to be careful about it because it's still considered bootlegging.
Yeah,
you can't.
Doesn't mean it doesn't happen, Nate.
You can't.
Smoking the bandit.
Yeah, no, I get it. I know it happens.
I actually do think that does contribute to the Ohio sales because of the regulated pricing for a long time. People will come in and they'll be able to buy it, and then Or if you live here, you buy it, you sell it, basically online and ship it. So
Yeah.
the bootlegging, as you're referring to, I think does drive the market as well.
Yeah.
Along with that secondary pricing.
Yeah. I mean, 2 years or 3 years ago, there was a guy from Ohio that actually got prosecuted because he had bought separately 12 bottles of Weller Green, and
Of all things, that's what he got.
Wow. And got an empty box and drove to Kentucky and sold it to a liquor store, and he got prosecuted for bootlegging because you can't. It's the same thing with firearms. You can't sell it as a way to make money as a side hustle without the proper license. I feel
like he should not have painted his car like generally. I mean, it just was a dead giveaway.
Or he drove a black Trans Am with the eagle on the and he's going really fast.
Your trunk's on fire, sir. What? Along with this, we are smoking something kind of special tonight, thanks to, like I said, STG and General Cigars. They sent it to the show here. This is the Cohiba Spectre, and this is the 2024, which oddly enough, and that's not the first time this was released after the year on it, but this is the 2024 release. Shipping, I think it was middle of last month, so June of 2025, but this is technically the 2024 release of the Spectre. And wanted to kind of read a little bit about this cigar. This is straight from the press release here. Cohiba, if you guys aren't aware, it is kind of the flagship brand of General Cigars. So Cohiba, there's a whole story behind there with the Cuban Cohibas versus the American Cohibas, if you will, which are made mainly in Dominican Republic from STG. There is a decades-long lawsuit going back and forth between Habanos SA and STG for the naming rights. Last I heard, it was basically upheld that this is where we're at again. So it's constantly being appealed and everything like that. So this is a limited one. Cohiba continues to redefine the cigar experience with the latest release of Spectre, an ultra-premium limited edition offering that brings together rare tobaccos, expert craftsmanship, and next-level packaging. The packaging, which I don't have a picture of, but definitely I recommend you guys go out, Google the Cohiba Spectre.
I showed Sean a couple of
2024, it kind of, the last one had the hydraulic and it lifted up the tubes. This one is more of, I think it is more of like something you'd see. You hear Spectre now, and I think of James Bond. This is something I really imagine in that, where it kind of fans out, and then the cigars are in there, and then I'll kind of read on here. But this one features a 7-year aged Havana, Connecticut 2017 wrapper. Introduces the first ever Criollo 98. Criollo is the seed. 98 is the seed where that was originated. Grown in Mao, Dominican Republic, making this one of the most distinctive blends in Cohiba's portfolio. Sean Williams, who is, he's been on the show before, the Cohiba brand ambassador. Spectre has always been about pushing the limits of what's possible. Rare tobaccos, flawless construction, and packaging that is in a league of its own. This year, we've taken it even further. The blend is unlike anything we've done before, and the box is truly next level. This year's Spectre is for those who appreciate the smoking experience as much as the cigar. Since its debut in 2018, the Spectre series has become synonymous with innovation, with each release surpassing the last in both blend, complexity, and presentation. This year's release continues that tradition with a curated blend and an upscale cylindrical wooden box. That's what I was talking about. That opens to unveil 10 individually sealed metal tubes. Each tube has a built-in humidification system to ensure optimal cigar condition. And then the box's core, right in the middle of the 10 cigars, there is a travel humidor. And the binder on this is Mexican San Andres. It has that Criollo 98 from Mao and San Andres, and that is the fillers. And it is crafted at the General Cigar Dominicana. It's available only in the size 6x52, and the 10-count box rings in at $1,499.
$1,500.
So 150 a cigar.
And that is, part of the conversation, maybe for part two. Which is the
what was the wrapper on this again?
7-year-old Havana, Connecticut. So this started shipping June 16th, so just a month ago or so. And yeah, so the price of the cigar is that 10 divided, that price divided by 10. So that is one of those questions. We can always talk about it a little bit now, but we can also talk about it in the part 2 topic there. But what are you guys' thoughts on this?
The cigar itself, I think it's a really good smoke.
Mhm.
There's a lot of flavor
Yep.
going on to it. Not much spice. The burn's been even. Have this nice, that stereotypical what you want to see, that kind of rounded, almost like a bellicoso head. Like mine's been doing that the whole time. Yeah. Yeah, the draw's been great. I'm sure we'll talk about issues with the banding.
Yeah, that's stupid.
So yeah, I mean, you took a picture. We'll post it on the page here. You guys can also Google it if you're listening live right now. It does have the Spectre silver band, and it has basically the Cohiba dressing all the way down underneath it. Now, what they did was they put the Spectre band on top of that, so you can't take the foot off and keep that band on there.
Yeah.
Which I think for a lot of people, myself included, I'd like to keep the band on.
Sure.
That's kind of like the Ashton Double Magnum.
Ashton Double Magnum. Yeah. El Rey de Mundo. Before I think they changed it now where it's like they had the band on the outside of the tissue, you take it off and it's that. It's interesting when you do this, if you don't have it and say you're at a shop, and not saying that you intentionally are even that type of person that you want people to know what you're smoking. But with this one, it kind of, you bought this. We didn't. You bought this cigar. You're lighting it up, and now it's just an unbanded cigar.
It looks like an HH.
I mean, you can argue though that that's kind of a nice thing. Like people don't need to know that you're smoking a $150 cigar.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You're sitting here smoking a cigar, and
if you really want,
you're not trying to show off.
Take a picture of it before you smoke it.
Yeah.
My biggest gripe with the wrapping too is they use like construction paper, or like kids had when you were little, like real thick, grainy paper.
You had some nice construction paper.
And I mean, just a little white chalk, it'd look great. You can make so many pretty pictures. Anyway, it's just like he pulled it off earlier. Mine was like glued on pretty good, and I ripped it to shit. But it is what it is. I mean, I'm not the label.
Well, we're not buying the cigar because of the banding.
Well, I feel like you're buying a cigar
sometimes
because of the box.
There you go.
I feel like the box alone price is like $75.
Yeah. It's towards a cigar. No, it's a $50 cigar and $100 box.
There you go.
Yeah, I think it goes to the marketing. We're talking about blends, but I mean, let's objectively the best you can talk about just the cigar.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of go into that part of it with the packaging. But the cigar itself, it sounds like we're fans of the cigar.
Yes. I agree with Nate. When I lit it, you always get different. I call it the journey, but like the beginning of the cigar, to me, it was pretty spicy at first. But now that I've gotten through the foot, it's definitely smoothed out. And I was waiting for the pepper bomb on the retrohale, but there wasn't one, and it was
like baking spices.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's not like strong, like oh my god, I'm gonna sneeze, but it's got a great flavor on the retrohale.
Yeah, I mean, it is something, Cohiba in the cigar world, Cohiba, Davidoff, Padron, I would say, are some of those names there. All to this, it's Monte Cristo. They're trying to, in my opinion, Jake, we were talking about before, some of the releases they're doing right now are very high end. They just released the 90th.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming with a higher price tag, not like this. Fuente's another one for sure. Yeah, coming out with the higher price tags. It is part of the allure. I mean, there's just, I don't think, especially with what they're claiming there, at least they did something unique with that Dominican Republic filler there, which a lot of times, companies will do that. They'll base an entire marketing program behind a filler leaf or a binder that is, that's the biggest one recently is the bourbon stuff. It's like, this one binder leaf is aged in the barrels of, say, Blanton's or, Weller more recently with Cohiba. But no, the construction's there. It's tough to, to smoke it knowing the price and not factoring that into your mindset.
Yeah.
But if I had to, I mean, this one, the flavor, there is a little bit of a spice kind of, but it's kind of throughout. It's not spicy, but it's got a nice little, almost mesquite to it.
Yeah.
There's a woodiness, but I also get like toasted nuts on it. And then like on the nose, more of like a nutmeg type of spice to it, not pepper.
Oily wrapper.
Yeah.
Construction on all three. Look like they're flawless.
Oh yeah.
I
Better be.
joked before we started when I took that band and the foot off of it, the foot of the cigar was cracked.
And how to smoke through.
Perfect. I mean, like it was not. It was a
So
like when I first put heat to it and lit it up, it kind of like flared out a little bit, but it burned right through it, and
so I remember
the binder did its job.
I remember when we had Sean on. I think it was the first time. Sean Wilkinson.
This guy?
No, I mean, yeah, Sean Williams, not Sean Williams. Basically, the way he talked about his process for creating the Spectre every year is, being the guy behind Cohiba for STG, he just goes into their warehouses and gets these really rare, small amount tobaccos, stuff that's just been sitting around because they don't have enough to do a regular production or something. So he just goes and gets these rare tobaccos and starts working with them to find a blend and comes up with something. And that comes out to be the Spectre. So that's part of the reason why these cigars have such a high price tag. It's not just the packaging, which is a lot. But no, it's also the rarity of the tobaccos that he's putting into these blends.
That'd be an awesome job.
Because some of these tobaccos you're never gonna get another cigar.
Yeah, follow Sean Williams on Instagram. He's got a good gig. He pretty sure he has a not apparel, but wardrobe allowance, which doesn't tend to happen in most jobs. And I mean, he's international. He's everywhere. Cohiba is sponsors of major high dollar, high value events as well. More high dollar.
Yeah.
He was just driving a Lamborghini or something like that, I think, and somewhere halfway around the world, wherever he was, and he was like posting that, he's like, "Oh, this is today in the office" or something like that. He's just ripping.
Well, and he also used to have
Lambo or something. Like that.
He also used to have his own cigar brand.
He did,
and sold that.
Yep.
So. I mean, he was doing stuff in the cigar industry before that.
It's a great conversation in person. We had him on the podcast a couple times, actually.
Yeah, we have.
Speaks highly of Ricky Rodriguez, if you remember.
Yep.
We've had on many times as well. Jake asked, what cigar does this remind you of? Do you have a thought on that? Or you just literally, I don't know. I mean, as far as the cigar itself, no, I know you're not. I'm just saying, like, I don't know.
I don't either.
There is a uniqueness to it. I mean, it's nothing just like I was smoking the Davidoff Maduro a couple days ago. First time smoking it, lighting that up, taking about 3 or 4 puffs out of it. I immediately thought of another cigar. And this one, I don't have that.
Yeah. It's just such a unique.
I would say they did their job as well. And I will say that, I think this is more of a collector's item. This is not, not that you're just going to let it sit there necessarily, but like if you go into a store and you want, like they have 8 left in a box, I think you are kind of getting the short end of the stick. That's anytime that these are sold like that.
Oh, yeah.
And this is not the case that I know of. We did not bring this into Tinderbox at Easton, but I mean, there are times now that manufacturers will sell you kind of in 2 line items on there. You're going to buy the cigars at this price, and then the humidor box will be another line item. And that helps with the tobacco tax and everything else. Now, I think most retailers will not factor that in when they're selling individual cigars. Like I bring up a lot of times, like in this circumstance, one that really stood out recently in recent years was Oliva when they put out the $300 MSRP V gold leaf. And that came in a very exquisite box as well. And my thought was like, why am I paying $300 for one cigar if I'm not getting that humidor? You know what I mean? Like, who's getting that?
Yeah,
I think. Oh,
I was just gonna tag on to that. Like, there's a couple items that I've sold at Carfagna's that I will only sell that cigar as a whole box. I don't break it up and kind of to that very reason.
I was talking with Brian, who's the owner of Tinderbox. I think what would be nice if you're going to try to single sell the cigars on something like this And I think it would work. We're not going to do it. We're not bringing this on. I'm not going to say that, but maybe in the future we would do something like this with something like that. Is that you got 10 cigars on this one? Say you only brought in one box, or say you bring in 3 or 4, whatever it is, but you say, okay, even if you brought in 4 boxes of these, which I don't think you could ever get your hands on unless you're a major Cohiba retailer.
Mm-hmm.
But say I've got 4 of these boxes, and there's no real time limit on this, but it's you put right there. It's like the cigar is $150, $149, right? You buy the box, we're still going to give you the box discount, so there's $150 off of the $14.99. Or every cigar you buy, you get a raffle ticket for the box itself, along with the travel humidor.
That's cool.
So, like, if you with
idea.
10, obviously that would be a lot more. I'm not saying everyone's going to bite at it, but it's like, even if you're out of town, whatever, you're in town, or like Sean, you're in the shop and you really like want to spoil yourself. You had a gift card the other day.
Yeah.
You know what I
Had
mean?
my
Like,
first
it's not the
Davidoff.
smartest use of a gift card,
Yeah.
but you say, all right, I'll buy the $150 cigar for a 1 in 10 chance to get this sweet ass box. I think that's going to push the single cigar sales a little bit more. And I think it's fair to the consumer, because if I'm selling them individually and at the end of it, I've got 2 left and someone's like, hey, if I buy those last 2, do I get the box? Sure. Yeah. $300 sale. Yeah, go ahead. And the other 8 people are fucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
I got an idea for Cohiba and Buffalo Trace to do a little thing together.
So if they're listening.
So Sean Williams, if you're listening, I want to cut of this if you do it. No, I'm kidding. But if you were to get the box, get those glass tubes that they sell, like people can get shots at bars and shit. Put those in those little containers and have Blantons or a Buffalo or whatever you want. But you could put Blantons in each little one, put little corks in them, and then be like at a party, like, hey, check out my Blanton. Pops up, it's got the tubes. And
That would be pretty cool.
yeah, I think that would be really
That'd
cool.
be pretty cool.
You get some like Blanton like glasses.
Yeah,
Is that-
legally, if you included like a shot or 2 of something with that, I think you will have a problem.
No, I'm
distributing
saying, well, that's true. I was gonna say it'd be something you would have to do by yourself. I didn't think you could.
You could
Shit, never mind.
Well, no, but I do like the marketing where it's like you have the
Sorry,
tubes
Sean.
these come in, but then there's a pack of like individual, like the test tubes or whatever
yeah,
that you can then use
yeah, I think
You
it's
could use
pretty
it
cool,
to-
man.
talking piece on your
Yeah.
bar.
Yeah,
Very interesting though. I mean, and I thank them for sending these to us.
yeah. Thank you. This
It's
is
wild
amazing.
to think that they sent us a 5-pack of these. And I opened up the shop and I looked at Brian. I was like, so
$750.
$750 5-pack.
What was his reaction?
Well, when I gave him one, I was like, now you have to smoke it. And he smoked it the next morning. So
You're gonna sell those 5-packs at Smoking 10 event for like $30 next year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those will go quick.
Yeah.
We have one.
Yeah. Cohiba was trying to unload these. They didn't, they didn't sell them very well.
Yeah.
People are going to be waiting in line like at liquor stores.
Very sarcastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do the rating on this here, guys. If I can find the, there you go. So this is the part of part 1 here that we're going to rate the whiskey, which is the Blanton's Gold Edition. And appreciate Nate for bringing that.
Thank you,
It's
Nate.
fantastic.
That's really cool, dude.
I'm also happy that you kind of stumbled upon this the way you did. It worked out.
Yeah. So I
Are
didn't.
you allowed to talk about it? I don't want to.
I can. So well, to an extent. So this was a lottery bottle that I got like right shortly after I started working at Carfagna's. So I was able to still participate in the lottery. Now that I have an ops account with OHLQ, like,
No.
I can't
You're out.
I can't enter any lotteries anymore.
Let's see.
No, I can't.
Jess can.
Jess can.
Your mule now. But yeah, so that's what happens in Ohio. If the lottery bottles are not picked up, they go on the market.
Well, so typically what happens if lottery bottles don't get picked up, we have to send. So we've had some times where lottery bottles haven't been picked up. We usually end up they get transferred to another account that then wholesales them to a bar.
Got it.
That's crazy.
That's
So
interesting.
So like the last time we had some lottery bottles that didn't get picked up, They were, I think the one was a Pappy 20 year. Someone didn't pick up, and
God,
we wanted to
Mortgage your
wholesale.
house.
We wanted to wholesale that to our
Jeez.
bar. However, the distributor said, "Well, you guys don't. Your bar doesn't buy enough of our products,
Oh, shit.
so we're going to wholesale it somewhere else." Well, the reason we don't sell that much Buffalo Trace product is by our license with OHLQ. Our bar is the only wholesale account we have.
Yeah.
So we can only sell it to one account. Whereas you have other liquor agencies. I mean, Arena Wine and Spirits down by Nationwide Arena, they're the largest wholesaler in the state of Ohio.
They're assigned certain,
so-
like bars are assigned, liquor licenses are assigned to state liquor agencies in
Yeah.
Ohio.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of these? Let's rate them here.
Yeah, sure.
Sean, you want to go first?
Yeah.
And may I have another pour? I promise I will.
I did
Tried
see
and
it being
not.
here earlier,
Dude,
so I'm just telling you.
I told you, like,
Some wasp
this is
spray.
the bottle I was saving for after the wedding. So
I'll try to wring out the table skirt after this. It's gonna be so bad.
ring it out into your glass.
Never washed it in how many years?
Yeah.
Just like that gin last week. Go ahead, Sean.
You threw me off. No, I'm kidding. The Blantons, I'm giving it a 9.5. I think I don't know why people think it sucks. I think it's amazing. Not just because it's a rarity. I mean, I've being on this show many times and being in the audience for many years. I've tried a lot of different bourbons, and I thank you guys for letting me do that, and cigars for that matter. And this one stands out for me. It's I see why it's a rarity to get, because it's delicious, and it's just one of those bourbons. To me, it's like a treat. It's like every once in a couple of years you get something like this, and I just try to just savor every moment or every sip, and
You picked a good week to come on.
I know. I mean,
he messaged me real quick, and we had talked about it a couple days ago.
Yeah,
Whatever, and he's like, "All right, if you need me, like, do you have someone on, or do you need me? I can fill it." And kind of like when you're reading text, I'm like, "Well, no. If you want to, like, we'd love to have you. If not, that's cool. If you want to just hang out in the garage, that's cool too." And then he wrote me back. He's like, "I'm in," and I'm like, "Whatever." I'm like, "All right, well, good, because we have some special stuff for you."
but
I didn't want to I typed out a text. I was like, "Hey, just so you know, we're doing something special," but I didn't want you to feel like you had to.
No,
Oh, yeah.
no. And I was already in, but I was like, I see why you didn't tell me. I didn't sped over. I've been over your house like 5 o'clock. Like, is it here yet? Is it here yet?
Home.
Yeah. The cigar, it's a 9.5 for me too. Again, another rare treat that you get, that's something I would never buy because I just don't have the money to. Well, number one, I get divorced. If I told my wife I spent $150 on a cigar,
Venmo at Bourbon BS.
yeah, I could do that. But yeah, and again, it's just, this pairing is probably one of the coolest, like, to have both of these on the show at the same time. It's a rarity, man. It's like, or for me in general, to ever have it. I don't think I'd ever have this opportunity. So I appreciate that. And I think the construction, the way it smokes, the flavor profile is excellent. And I thought I was Mr. Fancy Pants getting a $30 Davidoff on Saturday.
You were.
This one's a little bit. This one's a little bit better.
What's the MSRP of the bottle again?
In the state of Ohio, $144.99.
Call it 150, and that is a deal, right?
So like Jake said, $300 pairing.
$300
Well,
pairing.
but what's the secondary again?
400 on this
Call
bottle.
it 400.
Crazy. That's
300.
crazy. Yeah.
So call it even at cost, $150 bottle.
Yeah.
Sean, you're talking about the pairing here.
Yeah. The pairing, I'll give it a 9. I got to do it a little more. I've just been like either just sipping it or just smoking the cigar. Like I just did, like, before you said, what's your opinion on the pairing? I took a quick sip and did a retro right after, and it was, I give it a 9. I mean, I figured they would blend well, but I think that if I win the lottery, I could do this shit every day.
Well, you'd have to, because that's what I was trying to, like, kind of.
Yeah.
It's not just the $300 pairing that you're talking about. That right now in the garage, like, talking about getting a divorce.
Yeah.
Like if I was like, hey,
Between the bottle and 5-pack, it's $1,000.
I'm gonna have Nate and Sean over. We're gonna smoke in the garage. I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's cool though because $450 worth of cigars at this table, retail,
and 150 retail on the bottle, so $600.
$600 to have this little treat tonight.
That's insane, dude. That's just. I don't need Christmas presents this year. Everything's come true. I feel like I'm at Disney and I didn't drop 10 grand. Yeah, this has been
cheaper than Disney.
Yeah, so you got my ratings, and again, I just can't thank you guys enough for letting me be a part of this when you invited me the first time years ago, and it's just been just an incredible experience being able to do this with you guys. And one of my friends, one of the pilots I work with, his name's Mark Brett's a buddy of mine. Him and I started talking cigars the other day, so he's been watching the podcast, and I hooked him up to the community group and the BS community group. So he's the first time watching that, and he's like, "You guys are pairing Blantons and I'm in the wrong." He's like, "I want to do what you do in your job. Screw flying." I'm like, "No, I'm not." But it's but so his name's Mark Brett. Mark, welcome to the page.
Cheers, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, brother, for coming on, and yeah, looking forward to having you when you stop by Columbus the next time. We'll definitely have you over to the tinderbox and have a cigar and get to know you a little more. So, but yeah, this is pretty cool. It's really, really, really cool.
Nate, ratings.
Thank you, sir.
And Ray Chester asked, is that cigar 10 times better than your average smoke? I always kind of say that there are very few things when it comes to consumables that are quantified. 15, yeah. But I mean, you can't quantify it that way.
I do the same thing when I talk to people about wine at work.
Right.
Is a $200 bottle of wine necessarily 10 times better than a $20 bottle? Not 10 times, but when you drink that $200 bottle, there are levels of complexity and ageability that you're getting with that product that you're not getting with the $20. So that's where the availability, that's where the price comes in handy. Some of those higher end bottles or higher end cigars, they're extremely good. You can't look at it at that as a 1-to-1 ratio.
And I think that's what I want to kind of go into part 2 with here, with that kind of a thought process.
So for me, I'm gonna be 9s across the board.
Nice.
So not taking price into consideration, 9s across the board. I think both these products are fantastic. I think smoking the cigar and then going to the whiskey, more sweetness comes out of the whiskey.
Agreed.
Which is really nice for something that's over 100 proof. It's kind of taming that spice a little bit. But then also the whiskey doesn't prep your palate to, just get incinerated by the cigar. They both have really good flavors, but the flavors are kind of on opposite sides. So they're kind of complementing one another. They're not fighting each other.
Yeah.
So, not necessarily a pairing we were planning on doing, but one of those, it's like, holy shit, this actually works out really well together.
The pairing was definitely based more on the exclusivity of the items.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. We had to talk about that
storm.
earlier today. Yeah. And, Steve knew I'd wanted to bring this bottle, and he happened to tell me, well, I happen to have this cigar. I'm like, well, it's going to be a good one. I might as well, let's go ahead and swing for the fences. I will say with regular blends coming in at $80 now, with the flavor that you're getting, I think you're paying for the bottle, you're paying for the marketing more on just the regular 93 proof Blantons. I think this is what Blanton should be. Like this,
the idea of Blantons.
Yes.
The original idea of Blantons.
Yeah.
Bourbon
so
community.
they market themselves like the original single barrel bourbon. I think like this is what you should be getting with Blantons. Like this kind of flavor profile, the proof.
Yeah.
People think because of the price, it's got a lot of age on it. It doesn't. It's not a very old whiskey. You're in that 6 to 8 year range, so you're less than
Eagle
rare.
Yeah, right.
But again, different rick houses where in the rick house things age differently.
True single barrel still.
Yeah.
Which everyone seems to glance over anymore with blends.
Yeah. If this was a state where bourbon didn't fly off the shelves, like this type of flavor profile, I think that's what you would want in an $80 bottle. I think if Blanton's Gold was available all the time, I think at $145, it would sit there a little bit more, but it's the exclusivity that makes people gobble this bottle up. When we had this bottle recently at our Buffalo Trace event at Carfagna's, this was the least expensive lottery bottle, but it was the first one to sell out.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. I think the whiskey with this, and thank you, Nate, very much for bringing this.
Yeah,
this is a very nice treat. And even just in this light too, if you guys can see, it's just a beautiful color. We didn't even talk about the juice itself.
Yeah, it's got that
gorgeous.
it's got that great, lighter caramel color, like somewhere between honey and caramel.
Reddish hue, a little amber to it.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's not as dark as a lot. And I think the presentation of the bottle, which I admitted that I'm a huge fan of.
Mm-hmm.
If you have this bottle on a bar that's got nice lighting,
yeah,
whether it's a home bar or at a establishment, right?
Yeah,
it's just gonna shine.
Yeah,
The whole
it's gonna
thing
stick
is
out.
just gonna shine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just right.
Yes, there's
Yeah.
no
It's the
paper.
writing
That's
on it.
Jake brought up a good point. There's no paper label across the bottle on this one. Every other one has either the tan, the green, the black label going around it. This one, it's this gold writing, which kind of reminds me of the Nestor Moran Special Selection. Like you have this brown juice and gold writing. You can't read it worth shit unless it's up close.
Yeah.
But because it doesn't have that paper,
Man,
when
that
this
thing
is
just
sitting there,
shines,
you
dude.
can see everything in this bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
Nothing's blocking.
yeah.
Jake says it's very sexy. I agree with that. That's what I'm saying. It just pops. It shines. It draws you in. I'm at 9.2. I'll split you guys 9.25. I mean, I'm right there with you guys.
Mhm.
I really enjoy this. I think that to kind of build off what you said, Nate, briefly, the 145 that you got it for
125 when I bought it.
when you bought 125, even better. I mean, I think. Yeah, in this day and age with the bourbon world, that is something that will sell this bottle. It is unique. It's something. It's a talking piece, and it's also very, very enjoyable. Which a lot of times that is the hardest combo to find. To Ray's point on that, of as far as is it worth the price of the bottle? This one I would say is accurately priced. I also think that the regular Blantons, furthermore, strengthens that price point. So you have your Blantons at now $80. You have this one not quite twice the price.
Yeah.
So I think there's always that thing when you do a line extension on a brand.
They're priced accordingly based on the brand.
Bingo.
Yes. Yeah. And that
Straight from barrel. I don't know what the price is on that.
let me look that
While
up.
you look it up, the cigar, I'm at that 9+ range as well. With this cigar, I will say that objectively, I think that it is a 9. I think with everything else behind it, the uniqueness, once you learn about it, obviously, if you're able to afford and find the whole box of 10, it makes that price point more justifiable. I know that's ridiculous to say when it's like, oh, I want to buy a box of cigars for $1,500. But if you're getting the travel humidor, collector's piece, if you're getting the cigar box collector's piece, all of a sudden you are buying the whole package.
Straight from the barrels, 176.
Just
So $30 more.
Yeah. So in the pairing, I'm right there. I think this is a 9.25 on the pairing. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to talk about the fact that when you talk to people tomorrow, Sean, like, oh yeah, last night we had 3 cigars and a bottle of bourbon and it was $600 and we were doing it just in the garage. You're just like, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Yeah.
So that there is a fun aspect to that I think that raises it a little bit, the experience. But I think that's part of why a lot of people enjoy the luxury items when you can, is that this is a treat. And I think that brings a bit of that enjoyment up a level when it's like something where you're like, I treated myself, or I was with some friends and we were able to experience this. And then you put the dollar amount value behind it, and you're just like, this was special. It's not something that I'm going to be able to just do next Wednesday. It's just not right. Yeah, it's just not doable. It's kind of like like what we just all went on the vacation, for the wedding. I mean, it's like it's an experience. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You can always do something like it again, but it's like it adds memorable status to it. So
I won't forget about this.
But guys, thank you very much, Nate. Again, to you especially,
Yes.
General Cigars, but I think it's more in their budget. They got a bigger budget than you.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just slightly. They write it off. It's fine. Cheers, guys. Part
Cheers.
1. We're gonna roll right into part 2 here, very briefly.
Blendins.
Having up, you guys want to roll into it? You guys good for now?
I'm good.
What's up here? I'm gonna blow my nose real quick. Generous. Thank you. Walk out here for the daytime. Can't use the outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big kids on bikes.
Bottle 66.
Look away.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. Welcome back to the Bourbon and BS podcast, everyone. This is episode 339, part 2. Got Sean Wilkinson on the show again. Thank you.
Thank
Sporting
you.
a brand new Crowned Heads hat. Very flashy.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
you should probably straighten that out.
I'll just do my vanilla ice. Working on that.
Nice.
Pretty
Yes.
fly.
That
for a
is
white
available
guy.
online.
Yeah. That's Steve's
Nate
plan.
Hale and myself, Steve Crane. We are doing part 2. The topic is related to what we were just talking about in part 1 here. Topic tonight is high end or high priced.
Oh.
Yeah,
I like it.
still working every once in a while. yeah. A few more ideas up there, and that's about it. But yeah, so high end or high priced. I can see if I can pull up the. There's a metaphor. It's literal. But with this, we are smoking still the Cohiba Spectre. We do have part 2 for you guys here on the show, the Monte Cristo Espada Oscuro. Thank you to Altadis USA for continuing to support the show. David Welsh been on several times. I think we're going to get him on here again here soon for more things. He did give us that killer LED sign that is
looks like a halo over my head.
just, Nate, you're an angel. But yeah, with this, we also want to thank Tinderbox at Easton, Columbus, Ohio. We want to thank BS Cigar Company. And also you guys, patreon.com/Bourbon and BS podcast. We also want to thank you guys for supporting us with some of the shirts that these guys have on.
Yep.
The Pour One More, Light Up Another. We'll figure this out together. Podcast shirts, other stuff on there from the podcast and BS Cigar Company on buyjack.com/Bourbon and BS podcast. I think, no, just /Bourbon and BS. Let's find the band.
I think it's
here.
Bourbon and BS podcast.
Buyjack.com/Bourbon BS. High end or high priced. This pairing, as we talked about at the end of part 1, it's definitely high priced.
Both.
Definitely high priced.
Yeah.
It's high end considered, right?
Yep.
That's a tricky subject, I think, a lot of times.
Yeah.
I feel like it's when I go to somebody's party or somebody's house that's like as a mansion and I walk in, I'm like, I don't belong here. I kind of feel that way. Like
you can leave your shoes on. No, I'm not leaving my shoes on.
shouldn't be
Oh, yeah.
smoking this or drinking this. Right? I'm not worthy.
You bring those little like booties for your shoes
Yeah.
walking into the house. What are those? I just feel right doing this. No, I think part of the description of the part 2 is towards the end of it. I put like, what do you guys consider, like when people say treat yourself?
Yep.
That's something that I think not enough people do. I think some people do it too much. I think it deals with budget. I think it deals with living within your means.
Mhm.
We talk about that a lot on the podcast. Nate, I know you're very educated when it comes to the financial side of your life. You were, what were the training courses you took?
It was Dave Ramsey. Used to teach his Financial Peace University through our church.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we went through several. I taught, I think, four classes through that, like the whole course and everything, 4 different groups. So
And I think a lot of the ideas that you learn when you do that, as times change, especially more recent years, like that has like the price of things have increased on a higher rate than in the past. I was just in the shop today, and I forget how it came up. Someone's talking about Dante, one of our regulars, was talking about that his wife's working now at a furniture store and just the price of furniture. And I was just like, oh, don't get me started with we just moved in. And
Yeah.
he was talking about like, oh yeah, these mattresses are like, she's saying like they're half off and like, you know, rattling off. They're like, you know, oh, half off on special, and they're like still almost $2,000. And another regular's like, what?
Yeah.
Mattress costs what? I remember when, like, you know, you go into this store and you get a nice mattress for $150, and I was like, well, that's a long, long time ago. First of all.
Yeah.
I remember when I
You
was
may
in
want to get a
college.
new mattress.
Yeah, you might want to be in the market. But it's just I mean, you obviously don't need to go top end, but I mean, the price of things when people haven't bought recently in the last 5 years, some of the things like in their home, furniture,
Appliances
is a great example. Homes themselves, is a what was it? Flooring.
Yeah.
Any home improvement, any of the materials that go into it, gutters, roofs, you got like, put a deck or a patio on your house. I mean, it's just, if you haven't done it recently, I think there's a naive aspect to a lot of people of like, you're not necessarily blowing money, but that's the cost of doing a lot of things these days.
I feel the same way about restaurants.
Yeah.
Like we haven't gone out in a while. Every once in a while, last few months we've gone out and like bills like $70 for just 2 meals and a couple drinks. I'm like, Jesus, like for like a normal, like a Mexican restaurant, like some place that you would go to and not expect to spend that much.
Yeah. You go to a baseball game and 2 beers cost you $23.
Yeah. Minor league.
Minor league beers.
Fast food's going up. Now they are battling back. I was just talking to my mom, and she had my nephew out, and they were like, McDonald's maybe? They had like $5 meals again. Yeah. So you can see that they're feeling the strain on a lot of this stuff too, I feel like. I kind of described this in this part 2 on the description. The things in life can come with a high price, and we face the question often, is it worth it? Is there a reason things are priced the way they are? I think that's what we're talking about right here, right? Do you think people spend their money on things because they want it, need it, or because other people will think a certain way about them? What does treat yourself mean to you? So I wanted to frame that. I just couldn't get that up on the screen here for me to look at. Aaron Garner says commodities are outrageous currently. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to what Ray was, asking, is that cigar 10 times better than the average smoke?
Yeah. So I mean, it depends. It depends on where you are, what you're able to afford to do and stuff like that.
And that's a tricky thing to navigate, what you're able to afford, right?
I had a customer, I love telling the story. I had a customer come in 2 Decembers ago, was looking for a bottle of wine, and she mentioned just the name of it. And she goes, "Do you have this Austin cab?" And I was like, "Which one?" "There's 2. And I was like, "Well, there's the $20 bottle, and then there's the Austin Hope, which is the $70 bottle." And she goes, "Oh, no, I meant the $20 one." And I just happened to, the week before, have both of those bottles in the same week. And so I was telling the customer about both bottles, and and you used the phrase, and I used it too. I said, sometimes, she goes, "I would never spend $70 on a bottle for myself." And I said to her, "Well, sometimes you should treat yourself." Right? That's all I said. Sometimes you should treat yourself because it's a fantastic bottle. And she goes, "You know what? I do deserve to treat myself." And so she bought that $70 bottle. Hold on. Thank you, Jake.
And then her card was declined. I felt bad.
Well, this past December, she came back in specifically looking for that bottle again.
Enjoyed it. She wanted to treat herself again.
She goes, "This is my new Christmas tradition."
I like that.
Yeah, she goes, "I loved that bottle so much." Like, she's not gonna buy a $70 bottle every month or every week for herself.
Right.
But the holidays, like, that's her new thing now. Meanwhile, I have another customer that a bottle of wine between $50 and $100, that's his daily drinker.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, he's got bottles of wine that are thousands of dollars in his cellar, and he's got cases of them. But he's on a whole nother level than the rest of us. I mean, and we get that in the cigar community too. We get guys that, their daily smoke is, a $5 to $10 cigar. And then we got guys that their daily smoke is, a $20 to $30 cigar. But then, that treating yourself, all right, what's treating yourself? Like it's, the guy buying a $10 cigar treating himself is that guy's daily.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great point, that, rewarding yourself or treating yourself like for an occasion is nice. The cigar world, I mean, there's a lot of people that with the wine, the cigars, or anything else they value, they'll buy it and they sit on it and they're waiting on a special occasion.
That makes me think of Brad Grimsley.
I think that there's a lot of things that people are waiting on the special occasion before they get to that point, and all of a sudden and again, not going to the extreme where you're just frivolous with your money and going overboard and beyond your means, but I'm saying that where people are just like working, it's like, oh, well, eventually I'll take the vacation. Eventually I'll treat myself to the nice
and eventually
X.
never happens.
It eventually never happens.
So,
and it's good that you have the reserves. If you're saving, if you're investing, I think that's great. But at the same time, you have one life.
Yeah.
And if you're not living selfish in your mind, but if you're living to a point where you're just like, I want to be able to enjoy certain things, and material things is not necessarily end all be all, but I mean, that's something that we absolutely enjoy. You can't take it with you.
Well,
other people take your debt sometimes.
Well,
after you're gone, they take your investments, the positives, and sometimes they take the negatives. So let's be respectful here. Let's if you can have the gift to the people you care about, and then for you're at break even, that's fantastic.
I think for me, just recently was to go to Dominican Republic to be at your wedding and that week, and I normally don't.
Details to follow about next May.
Yeah, and I cool. And can't wait already. But like, to me, that's something I normally wouldn't do.
Us either.
And my God, it was better than I ever expected. And it's like I'll never forget the trip. And I thank you for inviting me and giving us the opportunity, and Nate as well. And Jess was like, it's just like I was down there almost every day. I'd wake up and I'd be like, how the hell did I get here? Like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And it was just, and I'll never forget this. I mean, it's one of those, like, probably one of the best vacations I've ever had. And it, like, I think about it every day. And it was just an amazing opportunity. And that's something like I said, I don't really do. And yeah, it was a good deal. It's still, kind of pricey, but it's still, again,
it's a really good deal.
My wife and I, we thank God for my wife. She manages the money really well. So if there's ever a time where we want to do something that's kind of like, above our pay grade or, above what we normally do, it's a rarity, but I think we both like really appreciate the opportunities we get and give each other and say, hey, why don't you go do that? Or, hey, why don't you do this? And, to me, that it's that much more of a savorable moment that I won't forget, or cigar, or like, to me, tonight's a rare treat. But it's one of those, like you said, like I said earlier, it's when you don't do it that much, anything whether you try a cigar or bourbon, you go eat somewhere fancy or you go somewhere, you learn to really appreciate the times that you give yourself that opportunity. So I think that, if you can manage your money and be able to do something that's out of the norm for you, do it, because it's like you said, you only live once, dude. I mean, it's like, I'm not breaking the bank, but I also, it's just the people I was with is what made it that's more special. The place is gorgeous and the food and the drinks were great, but it was the people that I got to spend time with.
That definitely enhances the experiences. Yeah. And I think I'm going to keep going back to tonight. And I think just in my mind, that example you gave, Nate, of your customer that, splurged within reason, and now it's something that, okay, I really did enjoy this experience. Enjoy the wine for sure. You know what I mean? But it's like, again, high end or high price. It's not necessarily the price of it a lot of times on the positive, right? So like, it's not always, yes, it's high price, but it is high end. It gives you that high end experience. So, you feel like you're experiencing something, not just drinking another bottle. Like if you crack it and it's like $70 bottle of wine. It's great. You probably feel more euphoria if you cracked a $7 bottle of wine. You're like, this is fucking good. You know what I mean? That gives you a high as well. But now all of a sudden you might have a new experience in the one life you have to like, I can't duplicate it, but I want to do something like this again.
Yeah.
This is something that I want to treat myself. I want to, again, feel a little bit more than just my everyday life. I think that's part of it. There are a lot of things that I think high end and high priced. It's just high priced. You don't get the experience. That's that buyer's remorse. I think sometimes where you do it, you're like, yeah, there was a thrill doing this and spending the money that I was just like, oh my God, should I do it? Should I not do it? And then all of a sudden you do it. And the experience is like, I shouldn't have done this. It's like, it's just high priced.
Yeah.
It's not for me. And that happens. But I mean, with that bottle of wine, I think, Sean and anyone else that went on that trip that haven't done it, there are some people on that. We had 40 people there. And I know there are some people in that group, I think some of my family included, they really enjoyed themselves. But I would put money on that they most likely won't do that type of all-inclusive trip again.
Yeah.
So it was like a one and done for them, but hopefully they had a good time. And there are other people that were like, yeah, it was great. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. And there's other people in that group of 40 people. They're like, I may not be able to afford this every year, but like, I'm going to plan to do this again.
Yeah.
Whether it be next year, 5 years, whatever. The lady that bought the $70 bottle of wine, she could come on hard times next Christmas and just be like, all right, like, what else do you have? Like a 35, you know what I mean?
We're not, comparing a $70 bottle to, a vacation that was a couple grand.
but you said, I mean, but it's the same idea.
Yeah. Well, and Steve knows about this. I used to have a particular bottle of bourbon that I bought in September of 2013 that after I bought it, because it was one of the greatest bottles, I got to try it before I bought it. But it was a pick. So I knew I would never be able to get it again.
One and done.
Because it was a specific blend done for a specific cigar bar in another state. I'll never be able to get that bottle again. And I bought that bottle, and I'd always told people I'm saving it for a special occasion. I didn't know what a special occasion would be, but I always said I was going to save it for a special occasion. And I was talking to Brad Grimsley, who used to be a regular at Tinderbox until he moved out of state. And I said that to him, and Brad's older and wiser than all of us. And he goes, sometimes a special occasion is Tuesday.
Yeah.
And or something might happen, you may never get to drink that bottle. And it kind of put things in perspective a little bit. And then several years ago, Steve and I go to Louisville to go do some distillery tours and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I think this might be an occasion for that bottle. I still hadn't opened that bottle. It'd been 8 years I've been holding on to that bottle. It always sat in the very back of my cabinet. And I took that bottle, and first night down there, I poured it, didn't tell Steve what we were drinking, and drank it. I show him the bottle. I turn to the side where it shows that it was a pick and stuff like that, and I tell him a story about that bottle. And I never drank that bottle by myself. I only shared it, I think, with 4 people. And the last time I drank that bottle was actually when I was leaving AEP to work for Carfagna's. I was at the Tinderbox, brought it in. It was, I think it was a Saturday, and whoever was working there, it was Josh. Josh was working there, and I think Brian as well. And it's like, hey, you guys want to try this bottle? Never get it again. And at the time I bought it, it was a $63 bottle, and the regular version of that product was selling for $43. So it's not like it was exorbitant, but it was just that knowing I'll never be able to have it again. But then I ended up enjoying it at the right times with people who also appreciated that product.
That's great.
That makes it a high-end experience, I feel like. That's not necessarily the high price side of it.
It wasn't high price. It was the experience.
I've got 2 bottle of Eagle Rare, just regular 10-year or whatever, but I'm saving it to go up to see my uncle. And I don't know if he's ever had it, and he's a big cigar and bourbon guy, and he knows of it. I just don't think he could get like the rest of us in Ohio. We can't get it. So I'm like, I told him, I was like, let me know when I can come up and we can have this opportunity. And he's kind of getting to the point where he's maybe a little bit of dementia setting in. So I want to get it done sooner than later, because I want them to remember it and like enjoy it and spend time with them, you know? So yeah, it's cool.
What do you guys think about that? The concept where I was talking about, do you buy things that you want, need? How did I say that? Of course, now I can't pull it up. Yeah, there it is. Do you think people spend their money on things because they want it, need it, or because other people will think a certain way about them? And that I will say, especially that last part, it doesn't necessarily mean, I think I think the brain or people will tend to think that they're trying to show off, living beyond their means, but other times they buy things not below their means, but conservatively because they're afraid people will think that they're trying to show off if they are.
Yeah. It just depends on the person.
I think it depends on
one of my mentors, like in business, one of my mentors, John Gibson, he did really well. You know, John Gibson, Jake, I think. And he was in sales and lived in a very nice house. Especially at the time. I think at the time it was like a house in this area, about $750,000 house. And at the time, I mean, that was what would probably be $1 million now, whatever. So nothing to balk at, right? And but he drove a Honda Accord. Now it was a loaded Honda Accord. But I remember he said that to me, is that, well, you know, my wife drives an Acura. They weren't like, you know, living beyond their means, and they were very smart with it. But he said, yeah, I could go out and get like a BMW 5 Series. But if I start pulling up my clients' places in a BMW or a Mercedes, my business changes because they see me pulling up in that, and I'm selling. There was decently high ticket item, and now they're like, wait a second, you know, this guy must be doing well. And he was a one-man show. Like, it was him, salesperson, business owner. He was the guy.
Yeah.
So yes, if he wanted to make that the company car,
yeah,
could have done that easily. But it was the flip side. I'm using that example because a lot of times I think people gravitate, like, you know, I'm buying like this, you know, flashy car, flashy whatever to show off, and I shouldn't. On the flip side, he's doing that just to kind of equalize that. He's like, I can't do that because I still want a nice car, reliable, comfortable, features and all that stuff, but I want to make a different statement that I'm not trying to show off. I'm not showing how well I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm not inviting them over necessarily to my house where they might pull up and be like, oh, you're doing well. You know, no wonder it costs us this to do business with you. You know what I mean?
Yep. So, yeah, I think the last part of that, the place where people buy to show off, I think is no more obvious than vehicle purchases.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of people, and I heard someone say it, you get people that spend way above their means on a car to impress people at a stoplight that they'll never meet.
Yeah.
Or you spend money on things you don't need to impress people you don't like.
Yeah.
Is generally what it comes down to. You know, there's other aspects, you know, that person may live more frugal in other aspects, but they buy the car, they buy the house to impress people. Like, people driving down the street like, holy shit, that's a nice ass house. Or you come across someone and stop like, holy shit, that's a really nice car.
Box at Easton, people drive by.
Oh yeah, we see it at Tinderbox all the time. And you know, some of the cars that drive by, you're sitting there like, holy shit. And then you talk to them and they're like, yeah, like half my income goes to this car payment. Oh God.
Yeah. People spend their money different ways for sure.
But no, it's one, you know, you get those people that's how they show off. And, you know, like, that's what they want to do, is they want to have that item show off. If you sat there and picked apart or spent time with them in every other aspect of their life, you're like, shit, I was jealous of your car, but then I see the way you live. I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah.
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 How much was your double wide? Why you have the Ferrari sitting in front?
Yeah.
I'm buying this car because I'm going to live in
nice cable dish.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with a dish on the house. You know?
There is a problem with a dish on a car.
That was a way to show off in the past. I remember when those first started hitting, you're like, oh, they must be rich.
Yeah.
They have a dish TV on the side of their house. We just have cable.
I think that I agree with Nate that there's, and I'm not going to lie, I'm like, I've been on business trips years ago where like they upgraded me to like a convertible. I was feeling myself, you know, driving down the Well, in LA, and I'm like, this is like a shit car in LA, but I still felt
Oh,
fancy.
the Ford, huh?
Yeah,
Cool.
so-
Yeah.
Neat.
Chrysler Sebring, nice.
It's blue.
Yeah. As I drove up next to 3 Ferraris,
Yeah.
never mind. I'm just gonna roll my top up and just hide. But no, I think a lot of it depends on the person, and in a way, like if it's a rarity and you know them well enough to know like, okay, this is a treat for them and they're excited to share, that's one thing. But to do it to get looks or whatever, it's so fleeting. It's such a anticlimactic to me. Would be like, yeah, you drive down a crowded street and everyone looks at you, but in 10 seconds it's over. No one's going to remember you. No one's going to go home. Wow, that was really cool. It's just, to me, it's more about the connection to the people that I care about. And if I want to share something like tonight, I sent a couple pics of the Blantons and the cigar to a couple of my relatives who are into that. And, I was just like, hey, this is a rare treat for me. But it was exciting because like they would appreciate it too. I think people that appreciate that you get something that you normally get or do or whatever. And if they know who you are as a person, and you're really just being excited to share it, I think that's one thing. But to like, I always think it's Steve, the bottle crotch shots crack me up. It's like I feel like I need to take that bottle, put it between my legs, and go, and be like, look at my bottle.
When we created the Bourbon and BS community page, it's like, this is not about crotch shots here.
Oh yeah.
And I swear, if you take it with your steering wheel emblem, I'm gonna
Well,
miss you.
Well, and to that, like how many times over the course of the 7.5 years of this podcast, Steve, myself, Jake, do we share this episode? We could have the master distiller. If we had the master distiller of Buffalo Trace, Harlan Wheatley, if we had him on the podcast, there were certain pages that if we shared the link to the podcast,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
like the admins of those podcasts, like, no, you can't post that. But meanwhile, if you look at the feed of their show, it's a bunch of Buffalo Trace products in between someone's leg that they're taking a picture of. And it's like, yeah, we're interviewing the guy that made that shit.
Yeah.
And like what do you care more about? Do you care more about the information, the education, the history and stuff like that? Or you just care about, promoting shots? Like, what do you really care about?
If that guy came on, you both would be fangirling like crazy. I'm just going to tell you right now.
I'd be interested.
I'd be interested.
I would be cool.
Like,
No.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That would be.
It's
really
cool. It's cool
crazy.
to have those kind of people, having, the people behind some big brands on the show. Like, yeah, that's really cool. But like when we had Greg Snyder on recently and his new project,
Four Branches.
4 Branches.
Before our show, they were on Fox News.
Yep. And then,
Kind of cool.
When Greg
Trying to get Fox CNN style, but like it's just like they were on a national thing.
Yeah. But even when we had Greg on the first time, and he was starting out that new brand chicken cock, like the whole story behind that, like no one in Ohio knew what chicken cock whiskey was because it wasn't even available. But here we have the guy who's making it on the show, and you learn about his process and like him actually going out and picking the staves that are going to be, or the planks of oak that are going to be used to make the barrels. And they age them for 2 years out in the elements. Like a lot of people don't know that kind of stuff happens, but there's also a lot of bourbon people that don't care that stuff happens. And it's like, what do you care about? Do you care about how the stuff's made, or you care about showing off the product? Like showing your friends like, hey, I get this bottle of Blanton's Gold. Oh, cool. Do you know the mash bill of it? No fucking clue. Do you know how old it is? No. What do you know about it? People like it.
I think talking about cars, I think talking about bourbons, I think talking about cigars, I think talking about, Kristen, she put it on the feed so I can talk
Purse.
about it. She rewarded herself with a purse.
I saw that.
What goes into when you guys are like everyday life purchases, stuff like that, budgeting? You obviously, we all know it's smart to like not live beyond your means when it goes, like going to the grocery store, you're eating out, like you said, Jake, you're talking about like even fast food and stuff like that, like lifestyle changes for that stuff. That is one aspect of it. And you had brought up, like the trip to Dominican Republic, Sean.
Yep.
besides that, what was the last, say, big purchase you made? What was your reasoning behind it? What went into making that decision? Because with that being said, did you buy it because you need it? Did you buy it because you wanted it? Did you buy it because you think people think a certain way about you? Or what's the combination of the train of thought there? Because it's funny, like I know Kristen, I would say fairly well, now that, being that we're married and all.
Good answer.
And I think some people, like with the birthday purse, people that are close to her are going to be like, well thought out, rewarding herself within her means,
You
all
go,
these
girl.
like smart things. People that see it was a Louis Vuitton purse. So people that see that, they might be like, oh, that must be nice, or well, that's overpriced, or whatever it is. But what was the last thing she on the other side, like she's like looking at it as like Louis Vuitton? She sends me these reels all the time too, like Louis Vuitton purses. Actually, she actually had bought a Louis Vuitton purse at one point for a price, and she resold it years later for the same price that she bought it for, used. And like Louis Vuitton purses, I had no idea there are things like that. Like some of our friends that are into watches and stuff like that. But like Louis Vuitton purses, to someone like me, I'm like, yeah, it's a purse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, good for you. You treat yourself. You feel good about the purchase. But then it's like, she's like justifying in a sense to me, not that she needs to. And I tell her that, but it's like, yeah, but like this purse 3 years ago was this value. Now it's this. And she even bought one used for like 40% off of a new one, and it had like one scratch on it. So it's like, this is a market that is as good as the stock market. First of all, if you want to get into high-end purses, there is a market there to make money on them. But like for you guys, what was the last big purchase? What went into it? How did you justify it? Like high-end, high-priced. I'm not saying it has to be this huge purchase, but like a lot of times the big purchase items are some people go at it for different reasons. What do you guys go into it for?
I think one of mine would have been.
It could be a bottle of wine, bottle of whiskey. It could be a cigar. It could be a car. It could be anything we're talking about, right?
It was for me. I think for the most recent thing I think I spent money on was a bottle of wine, and that was because I bought that to celebrate my wife getting a new job. So I want to do something special for that, because on the flip side, the last couple of years for my birthday, my wife has gone out and gotten, some really nice bottles of wine that are still sitting in our wine fridge. And those bottles, we have I have a time like when I want to open those, like how many years from now do I want to open those things? The very first year she bought me some bottles for my birthday, she bought them from our store. So I knew how much those bottles cost. And I was like, why in the world? Like, this is what we drink down here. Like, this is what we've been drinking. Like, why are you buying this? And well, it's your birthday. I'm like, yeah, but we're not drinking that on my birthday, because that's we're gonna sit on that little bit. So that way that bottle
she knows that you wouldn't buy it for yourself. Also, usually
she does, and like I actually need her sometimes to get me to do things I wouldn't do for myself.
That's nice to have.
Like the vacation to Punta Cana, that's something I would not do for myself. But because of the way we live our lives, we are in position where we could be able to do that. But it's also one of those things where, in the future, like, if we wanted to do that, she could sit there and go, no, you had a lot of fun doing that. Like, let's do it again, because you enjoyed yourself. You had a good time. Like, let's do that again. The trip we go to in Kentucky every year, the first year we went, I'm sitting there just thinking to myself, like, why are we, our Kentucky trip isn't a lot of money. I think the tickets for the event are the most expensive thing. It's more than our Airbnb or food. But it's one of those things that, like, I wouldn't spend that on myself. But then we go and we have that experience, and we have such a great time down there that then it's like, oh, okay, like, yeah, this was worth it. this was a good trip. We had a good time.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah, this is something we want to do each year. Cool. Let's make it happen because we enjoy the experience. Now, throughout the course of the year in between, we live our lives in a way to where we can then do that.
Yep.
And we don't have to put ourselves in a hole
Same.
to be able to do that kind of thing. I think the worst vacations are the ones that, follow you home.
Sure.
Where it's like, yeah, I went and had this great vacation. Now I got to pay for it for the next 12 months. And it's better to just go do that trip and be like, and just live in the moment. Or if you go and you buy a bottle or you go and buy a cigar, if you buy $150 Cohiba Spectre, you're not sitting there going, holy shit, I put this on the credit card. I got to pay 20% interest for the next 6 months. No, you just sit there and like, yeah, I bought this cigar with cash or whatever. Like, I'm going to sit here and enjoy this fucking cigar.
Okay.
Because I can. I'm not worried about what else comes with it, whether it be a trip, a car, it's that kind of experience that makes you kind of want to do it again.
So it's calculated prior to it with thought, and then you can enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Sean?
I would say probably, it wasn't crazy expensive, but I bought a new receiver for my surround sound. I have a TV with everything's in the laundry room, like the old receiver and DVD player and all the stuff. So it's like a clean view of the TV. But a couple of years ago, it's right above the bathroom, and I think the toilet overflowed or something, and it leaked down and like destroyed out my receiver that I had. And so I dove, and that's another thing is if I get something like a new receiver, I investigate it and look for good prices and look at reviews and stuff. And I got a new receiver and it's really nice. And now I can use my surround sound again. And I didn't need it, but I liked having the surround sound and I missed it. And I got a new TV for Christmas, and I wanted to be able to experience like movies that I watched that, Teresa and Molly are not fans of it, but I want to hear shit blowing up. I want the house to shake. I want people people walking down the street. Go, what the hell's going on there? I
watching Die Hard.
I want to be in that fucking war scene with them, but what I did though is I think I bought a Best Buy gift card, and it was for 12 months, same as cash. And so I paying $60 a month for the next 12 months, and it's not going to break the bank. And it's easier than taking $750 out of my checking or savings. That's a pretty decent chunk for something that I want. But I did a little investigating and made sure that I had all my bases covered. But now I enjoy it, and I'm excited. And that's it's I could say I needed it, but I just really wanted it because it's something we didn't necessarily have to have. But my speakers were getting dust. They weren't working. They weren't doing shit, So
you ever watch Saving Private Ryan on surround sound?
I am going to now. It's been a minute.
The whole opening beat scene.
Yeah. So
Pearl Harbor's another good one.
I may have to have you come over and look at the rear speakers because I can barely hear them. The old receiver I could hear like a plane would fly over and you'd hear it go boom. You're like,
that's why I like the Pearl Harbor one.
Yeah.
And I can barely hear it now. So
Pearl Harbor. Yeah, the actual action scenes were good. The rest of the movie was
but no,
dialogue,
But I think stuff like that, and like I if it's something I'm really like wanting to, and again I think I also bought the new Oculus, whatever the hell it is, 3 or whatever, and again something I didn't need, but again I had saved up for it over like 4 or 5 months. I just put like $100 away every paycheck and set that aside so I could go in and get it and not break the bank. So
it's a good way to do it though.
Yeah. So like if I want to go on the trip next year, I'll start doing the same thing, like putting some money away.
Yeah.
Or a lot of times I put money away for the Smoking 10 event in March.
There you go.
So when I go buy every sample pack that you have,
you're set for a
while.
while.
It's like $600 or something. Like I'm not like, oh shit. It's more like I'm prepared. What do you have? Give me. Right. I felt like Rodney Dangerfield. Give me one of those. Give me 2 of these. A couple naked lady tees. I was like, I'll take one of everything.
Yeah.
But I had saved up for it. But same with the lottery tickets or the raffle tickets. It is the same thing. I've saved up enough to put money in, so got a better chance of winning shit. And I have over the last couple of years. So worked out. But yeah, I think, in my, for me and my wife, like I work very hard at what I do in my job and stuff around the house. And I'm very driven when it comes to things that need to get done. And once I get locked on, I don't stop. And I feel like, I step away from them. Like, geez, I just sat in my desk for 10 hours without getting up. I do that almost on a regular basis because it gets so busy, but it's like, and even, Teresa's awesome enough to say, hey man, you've been busting your ass lately. If you want to go get that thing or go do that thing. Yeah. If keep it within reason, go for it.
I think we're fortunate enough to the three of us and a lot of people listening out there, most people listening, if not all, they are, well, in a life, in a country, all that stuff, not to get again down that road, but I mean that this is part of living in this world. I mean, this is, where we're at. I mean, like if you don't want to live beyond your means, but I mean, if you want to treat yourself to something, it could be something small, it could be something big, but I mean, I love hearing that you guys save. I mean, they're within reason. I mean, there are things like when I bought like my last TV, you know what I mean? Like everyone's like, oh, you can get a, what I guess 60 inch, I think it is 65 inch. You can get those at Best Buy for like $250. I'm like, yeah, but it reminds me of like the Dell computers, from that point when I bought like an Apple, and like my brother who's not anti-Apple, he was like, I got a Dell for like $150. I'm like, 18 months later, you bought another one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying they're like, they're bad, but it's like, okay, sometimes this high end, high priced, I feel like you get what you pay for sometimes within your means. Like I bought another Sony TV and I watched YouTube videos. I watched, like I went on different websites on the ratings and all this stuff. And I didn't get the highest end one, but I did buy one when Best Buy had a good deal. They also had whatever was like 24 months, same as cash. And it's like, that's where there's a little bit of the conflict with what you guys are saying, saving up and stuff like that. I looked at it as like, well, I could drop this amount of money on it, or as long as I don't keep racking up the same as cash and eventually that runs out and then you have to pay like all this interest on it. That's free money for me. You know what I mean? Like that's something where it's like, I don't necessarily have to take a big dent out of my checking account. I do this much a month in my monthly expenses. That's fine. You know what I mean? And, I never have gone beyond that, but especially when I was single, it was like, all right, so I'm going to get something. My last Sony TV lasted me 15 years. Not saying this one will, but I bought it 24 months, same as cash, zero interest, with the service warranty for 5 years. I'm like, I feel pretty good about this purchase. And when I watch it, I enjoy kind of like your surround sound, all that stuff. It's like, this is something I use on a daily basis.
Sure.
I enjoy it.
And not everyone thinks like that. Other people may.
And it's in my own home. Like, besides people coming over, like, but I mean, it's not like I'm having a movie. Hey, come over, watch my TV. You know what I mean? It's not like that. Like, it's for me. You know what I mean? Like, I want to enjoy it.
And I think, and there's things I bought where, my wife's like, okay, I don't get it, but it's like, that's fine if you don't get it. But she's also respects the fact that I really would like to have this. And another thing another big expense was 10 grand on a new furnace and air conditioner because our air conditioner was 30 years old.
You could have done without that.
Yeah, but the air conditioner,
blankets,
the fans,
small fires,
and fans.
Yep.
But another one of those things where we investigated, had multiple quotes, and then we got a deal. Again, another one of those same as cash for 36 months, and we pay.
That is more of a necessity in the first world.
Yeah, and honestly, but it's. Again, we didn't just so, and I think a lot of it too is, and I give people credit for, is when you do investigate things like it's like, and kind of like how Kristen gave you a reason for why she wants to get what she gets. I understand that.
Like, put up on the screen, Louis Vuitton purses have outperformed the S&P 500.
Hell yeah, that's great. And and I think things that are more for just entertainment purposes. It's like, if your spouse is like, hey, if you can make it work and you're happy with it. That's on you, but that's great. And I do the same, Teresa gets certain things that I'm like, okay, but hey, she's going on another trip. She's leaving tomorrow in Florida with her friends.
Nice. And
so I'm like, and she went to Costa Rica early this year and I'm happy for her. I think, you got to go enjoy yourself. And
got to find what I think also is the high end or the high price thing is what's going to bring you value. Mm-hmm. What I put on there is especially the part of you doing it when, like I said, I feel like most people will gravitate towards are you just trying to show off, sometimes beyond your means. Not always the best experience, because especially if there's remorse there, because it follows you home from the vacation, mm-hmm. or you come home with, say, a TV or a car or something like that. And you're like, this, I made it. And you're like, well, did you? Because now you're stressed every month making that payment. You know what I mean? Like you're stressed about this, you're stressed about that.
You're eating ramen 7 days a week.
But I think it's the high end experience is what you're looking for, and sometimes it does come with a price. But I don't think they're always exclusive to being both. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think there is part of why you're doing it.
Well, I mean, I've typically been one of those people. Like before I met Jess, like I was a little bit more of a penny pincher.
You still are.
I bought cheap. Well, hold on. I was saying
Jess is like,
That's like, a good thing.
But no, like what I'm saying is like before I met Jess, like I was buying cheap stuff because I was buying it, and then in a year or two or something like that might break, and it wasn't until meeting Jess, it's like, no, if we work this out, if we save and then we buy it, yes, we're spending more money on this, but it's a better product. It's going to last a lot longer. Mm-hmm. So in the long run, we're spending less.
Yeah.
Like that's not something I was able to do for myself. I was just sitting there. Like I was only worried about the dollar. I wasn't necessarily worried about, the long-term.
I will say, knowing you as long as I have, though, like there was the other side of it is that on the flip side
on whiskeys, I was the budget guy. Like,
well, low end, low price. I mean, sometimes again, I think that the great CJ, thank you so much.
Take care, brother. Thank you.
Jake Sanders, everyone.
Love it, dude.
You felt good about it though. That's the thing. I think no matter what you're doing, if you're saving, you're spending less money, but you're still enjoying it. You feel proud about it. You feel happy about it. You feel good about the experience. That's what I think to everyone out there. That's what you have to find out. Like, what are you going for? Like, it has to be the experience. It has to be the enjoyment of it, in my opinion, is for you at that time. I mean, knowing you again, as long as I have, you felt good about that. That like gave you a high. Like I got this great deal on this and all that stuff. And I think that's amazing. I had an old friend and still friends, but I remember it was back in the day. It was like when like HDMI cables were like starting to come out for the TVs and the stereos and all that stuff. Yeah. And he bought an HDMI cable because he was a penny pincher. But this was where I was just like, bro, I think you have a problem. It was like something like for $15. And then he found out a store on the other side of town had it for like $11.
Oh, shit.
He went to the store, returned the cable, drove to the other side of town, and bought the cable for $4 less.
And burned the gas.
And that's exactly like, I was just like, are you serious? But it was just like, it was like more of like an obsession. But it gave him a high. But then like when you rationalize it from the outside, I'm like, you spent more than that in gas, dude. Yeah. And your time. What's your time worth?
Yeah.
But he felt like he got a good deal. You, on the other hand, Nate, I feel like you were like, again, that calculated thing where you're just like, this is good. It's going to last. It's, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you felt good. Fast forward now, we're drinking a bottle of Blanton's here. Not without like frivolous spending. It was just like the fact that it's like it's cool to see.
Well, even this bottle, when I bought it for 125 was still one of those things where I was like, hey Jess, I got an opportunity to buy a bottle of bourbon for $125. Like, we cool?
And you could have said, well, it's going like I could buy it for $400 on the secondary, but I'm not going to do that.
I wouldn't.
No,
but she knows me better than that. But
I think it's all about experiences. I think it's about enjoying yourself within your means. I think it's fun. I'm glad
you started to get to a point though, and I briefly mentioned it, but when you're talking about me, when I first started coming on to the podcast, I was that guy that was, especially when the Last Call store was here in Columbus, I was that guy that was going out and finding some amazing bottles of bourbon for under $30. like some absolutely lights out killer bottles. And then like one time I bring on a bottle and it could have been last year when I brought on the Winter Nights Dram, which was a $150 bottle. I was like, yeah, I got this. And it was a $150 bottle. And she was like, I remember when you used to buy like $25 bottles and now you're showing up to the show
And brag about it.
with bottles that are like,
But she has a crotch shot picture. That's
Oh,
somewhere.
yeah.
huh?
I said, I bet you got a crotch shot picture somewhere in
No.
your phone.
No,
It's a selfie in his private photos.
Yeah.
No one will ever see it.
don't have it. No.
Just okay.
See,
All right.
Close your
High
remarks.
end or high priced? Close your remarks, Sean.
Okay. For me, kind of what I mentioned earlier, I think it's personally just my way of looking at these things is I like to do a little investigating before I just go out and get something. There's the rarity that like last minute, like, hey, go ahead and go play at this golf course. It's $100. Look out. I'm sorry.
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
Leave it.
That's at least they didn't spill the Blantons.
Okay.
it's because your
Right.
glass was empty.
That was like an hour ago.
I know. It's all dried up now.
It's fine.
But I think it's yes, it's, if I go and play a round of golf that's at a course I normally wouldn't go to, and sometimes it's last minute and I make it work. But for the most part, things that I want to do, and I think just with my wife and I's open communication, how we're good at communicating is kind of like presenting it and saying, hey, this is what I want to do, and this is how I want to do it, and usually it's I have reasons behind it and I have stuff like that. So I think, and it's more not just for her, it's for telling myself too, like, hey, this is why I think it's a good deal, or this is why I think this would be a good way to purchase something that's on a higher end thing. And but yeah, so I think as long as number one is if you do that, and again, it's just, for me, it's a special treat to do certain things that I don't normally do that may cost more. And I try to make the most out of whatever I get or whatever I experience and know that it is something that's a rarity for me. And I really appreciate what I've done. Yeah, I've had buyer's remorse. I bought shit that I'm like, yep, shouldn't have done that.
We all have.
But it's part of learning. It's part of just living your life and learning. And, I've learned my lesson from that. It's almost, you almost have to do that to learn what's like more valuable or what's worth spending that extra money on. So I kind of rambled there. Sorry, but
You're good.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I look at it.
I think you have to figure out if you're just doing something because it's high priced, either you're showing off for yourself because that makes you feel good, whatever your background is, how you grew up, whatever it is. I know people that, sometimes they that story of like, they grew up poor and now they have the means, not just buying high price stuff. Everyone's got a reason for it, but I think that the goal would be to treat yourself to the higher end stuff where it involves, you feel good about it, and that encompasses the finances. You're not overextending yourself. You're not stressed. The buyer's remorse. You're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Now I'm fucked. All that stuff. I have to make sacrifices elsewhere. And every day I wake up and I'm stressed about it because of my finances or whatever. Yeah.
It makes it harder to enjoy that item.
It does. It really does. You tarnished it. And it's short-lived because you can't enjoy it every time, and people that listen to this show, every time you walk in your bourbon room, you should be happy about it. Cause they're like, I don't have a bourbon room. Some guys, like you see it and like, if they're not like massively in debt and they're doing well and this is a hobby and they can afford it, they walk in and they're like excited about it. They just want to share it, and enjoy it. But if you walk in there, you're just like, ooh,
yeah,
that's so much money. And I am this much in debt because of this. Those are those things you have to force yourself. A car, you get into it every morning and it's like, if you feel happy about it, that's great. Whether it be, What was your Cobalt?
2007 Chevy Cobalt.
Nate bragged about that 2007, and I'm even drunk. 2007 Chevy Cobalt, no like roll up windows, AM FM, and he was so proud of that car. And then on the flip side, with the Lexus, you are enjoying, like, I mean, but like you even said you got back into it and you're just like, man, that felt good. You know what I mean? You didn't go beyond your means. You went out of your comfort zone and you treated yourself to something that you're like, you really enjoy it. You know what I mean? There are those things where you enjoy things for different reasons, whether it be considered to the outside world as a beater, whether it be a car, a house, or whatever it is. But it's like with the house in Tanager, I was so proud of that house.
Sure. It's a great house.
And there's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? Growing up, I had friends that lived in that neighborhood. And I was like, wow, this is Westerville. Like, this is the same, like, you know, my parents lived not like super high end, but it was just like the perception of, if you find the value, it doesn't necessarily have to be high priced or even high end to outside people. But to me, like, that house, like, I was proud of it. Like, you know what I mean? I was really happy and I loved having people over. And there were a couple times where I was like, oh man, like doing the podcast there. And, you know, people would roll up that I know that we're doing really well. And I'm like, oh, there were a couple moments where I'm like, oh, they roll up to this and they're like, oh, this is where you live.
Is that what you thought? Or is that
there were thoughts sometimes that came across that way. But I think that was just moments of weakness and in presenting myself a certain way. And then, you know what I mean? But then it was like, they were very, and I'm not trying to, they were very small moments. Because sometimes I think people get insecure of the outside opinions of those things.
Or your mind tells you that you think that that's what they're thinking too. And
right.
Like,
you have to project a certain image sometimes. But the main point was I was super proud of that house. I was super proud of the life that, you know, the neighbors, the friends, and everything else that came of that. Sean, you're one of them.
Yeah,
obviously.
I'm sad you left. It's not the same. I heard they drive down Rangel or drive by Rangel. It just shed.
But I think with that, with small purchases, big purchases, all that stuff, is I never felt like I had to show off. But I had, like, I've gotten to the point in my life, and I ups and downs like anyone else. I was really happy with the material possessions I had, with the money I was spending. I know Ray, he's probably not listening anymore, but like, there was a time on this podcast I talk a lot about like supplements and things, the money I was spending on that. And I look at the stuff in my cabinet and I'm like, holy shit, I'm spending so much on this stuff. But then I felt good about like how I felt and just in general and all that stuff. So it was like I was investing in myself, all of these things that I would say when I met Kristen, I had gotten to a point where it made sense that I was able to be happy again in a relationship and in a life, because I had kind of come to that balance of, I was happy with my health. I was happy with my emotional state. I was happy with my material possessions. I think a lot of times, especially on social media, there are people who are like, this doesn't matter. Material possession doesn't matter. The health matters. And then this doesn't, and like, it's like, no, we all wake up and have to deal with the same broad spectrum of things in your life that you're spending money on and time on. I think the value of your time is something that people glance over way too often. And Sean, you said it, you work your ass off for, you know, during the day, hours and hours and hours, and you could just save and keep working more and more and more. And, you know, if anyone's watched a podcast with Sean on here before, your health over the years is a blatant example of how that would be a bad thing if you just worked yourself and then something came up and you never enjoyed anything you're doing.
Yep.
And I think that's one of those things, like, you know, again, one life, you never know how much time you have, and not to get down that sentimental road too much, but it's just within reason, just enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the life you have within your means the best you can. Treat yourself to trips, to purchases if you can, you know, like as far as material possessions. And first and foremost, I think you should absolutely there are too many people like my, not my mom specifically, but people of the older ages that they are popping a lot of pills just to feel good. And there's a lot of things that hopefully you can do throughout your life to take care of yourself so that you can enjoy the life as long as you can.
Yeah. I want to add a couple things to my remarks real quick. Sorry.
That happens usually.
I know. I do it all the time. The one thing I forgot to mention is when I was up until my mid-20s, after a couple of years in college, I moved back home and lived with my parents, and I spent a lot of money because I didn't have anything to spend on. There was no rent, there was no utilities, and my parents were cool enough to
I remember those days.
Yeah. And I racked up a shitload of credit card debt, mostly on golf. And I got really good at golf, but
not good enough to pay your bills.
No. And I think that having gone through that and then realizing, holy shit, I've got this credit card debt and I've got this and I got that. And like, if I ever want to move out, I got to get this taken care of. When you put yourself in a situation where it is financially binding, at least for me, fast forward 25 years, which almost 30 years later, like it's easy to look back on that and then realize, okay, I'm not going to go spend money frivolously. But when I do give myself the rare treat of whatever it may be, a cigar or a trip or whatever, I've learned to enjoy it even more because of going through all that shit. And I'm sure a lot of people have done the same.
Oh, 100%.
And even, one thing that, you've been to my house, you haven't, but anytime you want to go over, you can.
It's an oasis.
So like our backyard is just a steep slope down a hill. It's like a steep hill. And over the years, we've redone our decks. We turned our upstairs deck into a screen-in porch. We made the hill. I built a retaining wall. My brother came in and built a patio, and I decorated that. And so that was like a long-term investment and a lot of work. But like, I still go out there and just like look around and appreciate what I have.
Your kingdom.
Yeah, because of all the years that we've saved and set aside money to be able to do things like that. And I think that so those are the 1, 2. But I am going to say that I am very sad right now because I'm almost done with this $150 cigar.
Dude,
I've already moved on to the $16 cigar.
Yeah, I'm going to smoke it now. That now, like,
you
got a rich clip?
I should have.
I got a number,
brother.
Yeah, number.
Oh, I had to. Anyway, sorry.
Hey, round it out, man.
Yeah. No, this makes me think of something that I hear my dad say every now and then. The first time I went to the house my dad currently lives in, we're staying there in the living room looking around the house, and he goes, "Not bad for a country boy from Obed."
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, his parents were from Eastern Kentucky. I remember him telling me stories when he would go visit his grandparents down there. Like, there was an outhouse.
Yeah, my grandma.
No plumbing.
Yep.
There was an outhouse, and if like an actual outhouse.
No, I know.
All
right, but just have a side yard.
Yeah,
right?
But then also, like, because it's Eastern Kentucky and there's wildlife out there at night, you didn't dare. If you had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, you didn't venture out to the outhouse. Yeah. Every bedroom had a bucket.
Yep.
Bedpan.
No, it was a bucket.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, you went in the bucket, and then during the daylight, you went and then just dumped that in the outhouse. And then when the pit got full, you just fill it in and you move the outhouse. And so,
resilient people.
Yes, very. So so when my
18.
Shut up. No, so when sometimes my dad has those moments where he looks back and he looks at the vehicle he drives, he looks at the house that he has, what he was able to do for his kids. I mean, my dad worked hard for 30 plus years at UPS to be able to give his kids the kind of upbringing that he didn't have. And it wasn't until I was an adult I realized like what all he sacrificed, because he was making, I guarantee you my dad, 20 years ago as a UPS driver was making more money than what I make now.
Mm-hmm.
But you never would have known it. Just the way he lived, you wouldn't necessarily know that that's what he was doing. Because he wasn't flashy, he didn't show it off.
Like that.
But it put him in a position to where now that he's retired, like he golfs, he's in the golf league on Wednesday nights, and then he golfs one other day a week.
Not bad for a kid from Kentucky, huh?
Yeah, and I mean, our house in Obetz, it was a ranch, and I'd say it was about 1,000 square feet, 3-bed, 1-bath.
Yeah,
3-bed, 1-bath ranch at 1,000 square feet. That's not very big. And but what he had been able to accomplish in his life, my sister, myself, like we all kind of learned those work ethics from, my sister and I think we learned a lot of our work ethic from him. And I know he learned a lot of that from his father as well, because his father built their house in 1954, right down the street from the house my dad used to own. And it was one of those things where when you're younger and you're going through those struggles, there's a lot of people out there that want to pressure you to kind of keep up with the Joneses. And some people give into that and they extend themselves.
Sure.
And it, it ends up biting them down the line. They're sacrificing long-term for short-term. But then there's people on the other side, like, no, I'm okay doing this now because I know this isn't going to be forever. And then later on, enjoying those things, being able to go do those things. So like going on certain vacations or being able to buy a certain kind of car. Like, I drove that Chevy Cobalt for as many years as I did.
You really should have held on to that.
There wasn't a need to.
I'm just kidding.
There wasn't a need to anymore.
Could be like that fucking 1970 GTO someday. Probably not, but it could be.
No, I don't think that car is ever
20 years from now. Like, man, you had a Cobalt.
No, that's never gonna happen.
Collector's item.
No,
I wish you would have held on to that car. I would have rocked that thing.
No, does anyone nowadays regret getting rid of their Chevy Cavalier? No. That's the same thing. The Cobalt replaced the Cavalier.
My dad had a Mustang and a convertible Camaro. I'm like, you son of a.
Yeah.
It's like a Cobalt, man.
But no,
you sold it.
I think it's relative. All I'm hearing, sorry, real quick. All I'm hearing is it's always relative when you're saying that must be nice because I was floating around here tonight. You know what I mean? Like, there's someone else that's probably saying that's what I like from your dad's experiences. Someone else is saying that about like, oh, it must be nice that you own your own house, especially now.
Yeah.
You own a house. So it must be nice. I can't afford one. Or, you know what I mean? It's always, what are the Joneses you're keeping up with?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's both sides of that. Like, you sit there and say, that must be nice. Well, you can be young and look at someone who's, you perceive greatness, but it could just be a flash in the pan, or it could just be a facade that they're putting on, but you perceive that and you want to chase that. And, you get in over your head, or you sit there and go, you know what, someday I want that, but I want to be in a position to do that. And so you struggle to where then when you get to that point, you're like, I'm doing this not to show off. I'm doing this because I can. I'm not doing this I'm not doing this to impress anybody. I'm doing this because I want to do this for me.
I love that.
And I can do that. I don't give a shit what.
And I worked my ass off for it.
Absolutely. I don't when I drive down the road in my car, I don't care what other people think about me or my car. I didn't care what people thought about when I was driving down the road in my Cobalt.
Yeah, you said it was paid off, and I've got this many 100,000 miles on. I feel like you bragged more about the Cobalt than you do your Lexus. I'm not wrong. Jess is smiling. I absolutely am right on that. That's the second engine, man. Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Power windows. I don't have those.
Well, but that's the thing.
It rolls up the drive-through.
So, but hand crank windows, But that's the thing.
The door's open though.
I went through that. I was proud of that car. I went through that because I mean,
Learn to
I
appreciate what
I
you
bought
have now.
I bought that car at a time where I needed to have a new car because the car I had at the time was not reliable. I had to replace an alternator twice in 2 years. Like that's not something a car should have to do.
Nah.
So that's when I knew that car was going downhill. And at the time, my dad actually co-signed on that, and I didn't, I was young, I didn't know anything about that, and I shouldn't have done it, but I did, and
Talking about the Cobalt?
yeah.
Oh,
After that, I was able to appreciate that car. But then going through all that, when I then bought,
it did not appreciate.
when I
Sorry.
I appreciated it. But
You got
then,
your money's worth out of it.
fuck yeah, I did.
I'll give you that.
I mean, I've told people like if they still made that car and like brand new, I could get that exact same car for 20 grand. I'd have bought that car again. Like I would have
Someday.
just because it lasted, it worked. I didn't need any of the frills. Like
See,
I'm one of those.
He's more proud of that car than he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I remember having the conversation with Brian at Tinderbox. Brian's got a really nice Dodge Ram Hemi. But even he was talking about it, and I agreed with him. Like, I would love to be able to just pick up V8, 8-foot bed.
Work truck.
Don't give a shit about the rest of it. Now, every single truck has to come with, all these electronic screens and satellite radio, and those things are cool.
Coming back, man.
But
So
no,
Amazon EV coming out that's like apparently going to be like 30 grand.
Yeah. But going through all those years that I had that vehicle, when I then bought my next vehicle, all the gadgets and features in that, I was like, holy shit, this is great.
Goddamn.
I love having all these. I mean, Steve, you love having all the features in your Cadillac.
What?
You love all the things that car has.
Man.
Yeah, anti-lock brakes
brakes
was a great upgrade.
Yeah.
But no, it was just one of those things where, as much as I loved having that, when I then was able to upgrade myself to something nicer, then I'm appreciating what I have.
There's someone out there that sees you in that Lexus and be like, must be nice. That's, I think, the big thing. It's you know what I mean?
But
like,
they don't know what I went through to get that.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's absolutely my point. I think that's the important part of it, is that you enjoy it. You're able to do it effectively from a whole life perspective. And it's not your identity. It's not your end all be all.
Nope.
You're enjoying it. You have your life experiences that brought you up to that. There is going to be someone out there that they look at a label and they're just like, whoa, Lexus, huh? Must be nice. Like, come on, man. You know what I mean? But there's someone.
It takes way too much energy to be jealous of what other people have.
But it happens a lot.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But just the energy and envy that you expend on it, oh my gosh.
I think you need to just find out what high end is for you and make it within reason.
Yep.
So it's not just high price; it's high end for you. That Chevy Cobalt was high end for you at the time, like you said.
Yeah.
And now it's like you drive, and it's a used. It's not, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
not
what
like,
used?
it's one of those things. You guys have it paid off. You paid for it outright. I mean, it's all those things people don't realize, and it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? As long as you enjoy it, and as long as you can enjoy every day, your everyday life, that's it. I mean, it's so classic and stereotypical, whatever you want to call it, but it's like you want to enjoy the best you can every day that you have left on this earth, and that's the best you can do. Take the trip if you can, buy the purse, buy the car, buy the food, go out, treat yourself, treat the ones you love the best you can within your means, and it'll be easier than you think, I think.
Mm-hmm. It's a good closing remark, actually.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Get this mouse back up. Guys, happy Whiskey Wednesday. It's great having Sean back on.
Thank you. Appreciate
Again,
it, guys.
Nate, thank you so much for bringing this bottle.
That was awesome.
What a treat. Thanks to General STG for giving us this Cohiba Spectre. Smoking now, the Monte Cristo Espada Oscuro. Thanks to Tinderbox at Easton. Thank you to Altitus USA again for the Monte Cristo and the sport. Be a cigar company. Nate's halo behind him, Monte Cristo, still a badass sign.
That's very
David for that.
cool. That's
and cheers, guys.
Oh shit, I'm empty.
Yeah, huh?
I better pour another little sipper.
Waiting on Sean.
I don't want to break the horse.
It's
Feel
really
real
awkward.
the,
You feel
awkward,
pressure?
the awkward silence.
I just,
You
Okay.
knew this was coming.
I know.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See you in a couple weeks, guys.
See you guys.